Thank you.
All right. How are you today, Davita?
All right. Pretty much emptied out for the night. Got to get
Like
up at 4:30 and do it tomorrow.
taking a dump again?
Uh, Taking the enemas, so I got
Ah,
procedure at
yeah.
10:30, so I've got to get up at 4:30 to finish the 4 liters. I've got 2 liters
Oh my
left to
God.
go. So
Just being silly. All right.
yeah, that's all right. Gonna need to cleanse anyways, but I'm feeling a little just like drained because I've been eating all day and
Gotcha.
but it's all right. It's still amazing.
This is
Good
for
to
a
be here.
regular
I
exam, or is
had
this a
uh,
thing?
I had diverticulitis a
Oh,
few
okay.
months ago, and I also had a bunch of my intestines removed. I had intestinal cancer and bowel cancer and stuff, so I'm missing a lot of parts in there. So yeah, this is just a checkup from the diverticulitis, but there's lots of other issues going on. We'll see. We'll see what they find out.
Well, Newsy fell off his bike. All right. Newsy, ready when you are.
Thoughts and prayers.
Okay. Life's whatever and everything's whatever. It's Chew and A.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. One of those days?
No, I just don't. No, everything's fine. I guess everything's back to fine. I would say normal, but normal is the normal I've had on here is me fucking a bunch, so that's not the norm. It's been almost a month and no sex still.
Deliberately? Excuse me.
So I don't know. Oh, bless you, bless you.
Thank you. Thank you. Uh,
Probably, yeah, deliberately. Maybe the first week was like I'm not feeling it, and then I fell on my face, and ever since then I've been like, oh, I'm really not feeling it. Um,
right.
Somebody was supposed to come over today, and I'm kind of glad that for whatever reason they didn't respond. They were just like, all right, I'm gonna see if I can get off in time, and then that was the last I heard from them, and I don't know, I'm kind of fine with it.
Did you warn them about your Picasso face? Was it going to be a shocking surprise?
Yeah. No, this person also got into like apparently they fell out of their Jeep because the doors were open. They were in the passenger side, but like their friend turned too fast and they fell out and they're all scraped up and bruised and stuff. So it was just gonna be two invalids jerking each other off, basically.
Oh, it'd have been like that movie Crash, like I kind of remember it, right? It's about people that get excited with people that are in car accidents.
Dude, I hello, Davita and Matthew. You're also here. Join the conversation. Um, I remember that movie came out, and I don't know, I was pretty young, and I thought it was just like fucking. This movie's so deep. This
Right.
movie is saying something.
And
I
now you
remember
know in
you
real
and
life it's too much.
you and come to hated it. I thought it was really corny, and at the time I was just like, but it was such like a good. There's like messages in the movie and stuff. I don't know. I'd probably rewatch it and be like, oh, this is corny.
Gotcha.
I'm just happy you got something out of the movie. You took away something. It
I
made an
don't remember what
impression.
that something is. Was there a cop that was not so racist helping somebody from an accident?
There's see, I'm thinking of a movie with that director that does weird shit, and it was and it was about getting like really into like amputee sex and weird shit
Oh,
like
good
this, and
Lord.
they
No,
got
we're not
horny
talking about
over car accidents. Then there's another movie. I think it's
Bound.
also called Crash Bound. And then there's a also one called Crash, I think. And so the cop's very racist, and then but he
yes.
saved Halle Berry from a
Yeah.
car accident, even though he's racist. And I'm like, yeah, you can still be racist. It's Halle fucking Berry.
Exactly.
And it's your job. There's witnesses. Who
Right,
cares?
that you can't just like look at this one and be like, well, it's not for me.
Right.
This one I'm gonna leave this for the next guy. I don't know.
I don't
Yeah, I
remember
think that
Halle Berry.
happens more often than not as well.
I don't remember Halle Berry, deliberately doing things to make
Amputees.
herself ugly like Charlize Theron did for the monster,
Right,
where she
right.
radically changed her appearance a little bit. So it's
Right.
kind of a
Okay, so it's Halle Berry's fault that she was saved because she's
well,
hot.
it's beautiful people. The cops
Yes,
will still
yes.
be like, oh yeah, well.
I remember when I was
She's
a cashier at Bed Bath and Beyond, people were always just like, "Oh, can't you just hit a button and give me the coupon?" I'm like, "No, I'm sorry, we absolutely could do that. we get flagged, and so our supervisor would ask us like, "Hey, what was this about?" But I don't know if a person was hot. I'm like, man, discount. I'll take whatever kind of verbal lashing I get after this. This person's hot, and I give them the discount, and they don't even recognize it. They just take their receipt and they go, and I'm just like, all right, well, that was a waste of me getting reprimanded, but whatever. One of these days it'll work out.
I see my movie Crash is a 96 movie. David Cronenberg is who I was thinking of. And they get turned on by car accidents and fucked up shit.
That sounds like it would make my stomach churn a little bit.
Yeah. Well,
Maybe
yeah,
have
you
a-
can't even see this guy tonight, you know?
No. It's for the best. I'm talking to a few people on some apps. One of them, it's like only explicit. Another person, we haven't talked about sex at all. So, I'm just open to all of my options at the moment.
Is it, I don't know if the word's cheating. Is it wrong that you're not telling them how fucked up you look and they're getting off thinking you're normal?
Oh, that is a good question to ask. It's just
Yeah.
like, when do I bring up that I have herpes? My face is all fucked up.
The third day, you have to tell them, hey, I understand my face is all fucked up.
With the person where everything is going like it's just a very nice conversation between two adults who happen to be on a dating site. I've mentioned that I crashed and scraped up a little bit, but the other person that I'm just like, oh, so you say you fancy yourself a bottom and you've never bottomed before. Let's chat. With that person, I haven't said anything. So
Okay.
maybe it is a little bit me just being like,
But you
maybe
don't say you're scratched up a little bit, right? You look like you were in fucking Hiroshima.
I say that like I got into a bike accident and I fell on my face. That's pretty
Okay.
clear.
That's
Yeah.
graphic. Okay.
Yeah. I'm just hoping like every week that passes that my skin color returns and things all just get back to normal and
Are
we're
you
pretty close
getting
so
so
far.
he skidded on his face, he has a little mark in his mustache, and he has two little marks on his shoulders. So he's ready for the world 10.
Yes.
And are you because the skin color does change down to the
Mhm.
white meat, are you understanding new privilege that you've never had before? You're experiencing a new kind of life.
No, it's
Okay.
still a lot of me. I grow out throughout my life usually trying to avoid like prolonged eye contact if I could help it. I'll glance up every once in a while, but like prolonged eye contact, what are we doing?
Right.
Now this is the only time in my life where I'm just like, look at me in my eyes. Don't look down. Just look at my eyes.
Oh, my eyes are
Eyes
up
up
here,
here.
not my
Yeah.
not my mustache patch.
Right. The whole time I'm just like, I'm almost judging the person if their eyes go down. I'm just like, well, of course you would look down, but also don't look down. But of course, obviously, why wouldn't you? But also don't look down.
Right.
Yeah,
Mm.
it's
Mm.
complicated.
We're gonna try to
Are
cheer you
you
up. This is fucking tough. What were we gonna say?
just think of how amazing it's going to be when you actually do it. It'll be more special and you'll
That's
have
the
it saved
second, I
up.
guess. Yeah.
Yeah. Have you been
Maybe.
self-regulating so that you don't like
Good
fuck
point.
the load into the wall into somebody or something?
Yeah,
Hmm.
they say it's good for your prostate to come 21 times a month. So I'm just trying to
Yep.
keep
A
that quota
month?
up a month.
I'm a
Regulators.
healthy motherfucker.
Yeah,
Holy
healthy
shit.
fucking guy.
All right. A month.
A
Don't
month.
forget your
Yeah.
towel.
Jesus
Or whatever
Christ.
boxers I was wearing that day. That's usually how it goes. Yeah, there's literally nothing to report. I officially got a company work shirt
By the way,
after.
sorry.
Mm,
Is it sad, guys, that like he's all bummed out because he didn't have sex 6 times this week, per usual. And then what? I get to see my chick once or twice a month at the
mm,
most. I
mm.
don't know about your guys' dating style right now, but is he a little? Does he piss you off a little bit?
No, I don't think he seems like he's down. He's just like nothing to report. It doesn't. It's like he's angry about it or
No, he
Mm-mm.
seems
upset.
thrilled. Jesus
But
Christ! It's
yeah,
another day getting by.
Just getting by like a person who doesn't have access to an app to find sex 10 feet from him at all times,
All
Just
right,
living one of those lives.
all right,
amazing.
all right.
Yeah. I got a work shirt. That's the only thing that's happened in a week's time. So
Congrats.
I'm a little bit more official at work. And as soon as my supervisor gave it to me, he said, "Now don't fuck up," which filled me with dread instantly. I'm just like, well, you're giving me this shirt, which means that I'm a part of the company, but also like, are you telling me I'm on probation or something in the immediate? Like, what does that mean? Don't fuck
He's
up.
telling you, don't fuck up. Don't forget, wear this shirt at work and not the shirt you're wearing now, for example, that says sports and is obviously mocking heterosexuality.
I can't wear it at work because it's got no sleeves. So,
Right.
4-inch sleeves, got to have them, whatever. I do love wearing this shirt around. It makes me, it's black and gold, so it fits within the city's motif. And it just lets you know sports,
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
just
go
sports.
sports.
Go
Go,
team.
go sports. I'm not being one of those gay guys who's just like, ew, sports, but also don't talk to me about it because I have nothing to
You
say.
also have a rainbow hat. Like if you went to work, I think they'd be like one or the other. Come on.
I did have one coworker last week. Uh, I've been using this phrase lately that I thought was fun. It's fun for me to say. When somebody asks me a question, I'm like, dude, I don't know shit about dick. I don't know. It's just whatever. And then he said to me, actually, you probably know the most about dick. And then he said, hey, look, my first gay joke, and then gave me a fist bump. So look at that.
I'm
I'm
just
Progress.
changing.
confused. Is this good? You seem happy about it?
I'm happy that he's finally able to talk about it.
Okay.
It's one thing where people know you're gay, but they like avoid talking about it, like to like
Right.
tiptoeing around the line. They're just like, I don't know what to say. I don't know what can I say. So
Right.
the fact that he made his first joke
Okay.
that was not at my expense, but sort of with me, I call that progress.
All right. Good for you.
Yes.
Congrats.
Thank you. Thank you. Changing the hearts and minds of people in America, one construction company at a time.
All
I
right.
think that's the way it actually is happening. There's more of you out there, changing one individual at a time,
Yes.
and it's taken us what 20 years now to get to where we are. Well, at least 30
Also,
years.
also, people have just become gay recently. Like in my high school, for example, nobody was gay. In the army, nobody was gay. So finally,
Mm-hmm.
people are making gay people, it seems.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's very exciting to have
Right,
diversity.
right. One of the supervisors that I have that was the first to talk with me about it, he has a gay stepdaughter and stuff. And it usually is a little bit easier when you have somebody in your life who is that thing. And now all of a sudden you're just like, oh, I'm sensitive to this now.
Right.
But this is also the guy who, the way that he tells me about how he grew up around like black people and stuff like that. I know he's wanting to get an N-word pass from me. I know he wants
Mm,
it, and I'm not fucking doing it. You
right.
can just feel that all he wants me to say is just like, dude, I don't care about it. It's just like, it's just a word. Blah, 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 blah. I'm
Right.
not fucking doing that, dude. And I can. There's some people you can feel it just like boiling off of their bodies, and I'm just like, keep wishing because.
Is she kind of saying it? Is he singing Jay-Z and saying
Oh,
fella and it's too much? How's he
gosh.
poking?
Gosh, I say nothing's happening in my life, and then the things that I don't say because I'm just like, but what if I don't respond the right way and people judge me? Uh, one of my other apprentices worked with that guy on an overnight or over the weekend, and we have gangster rap Fridays. Well, apparently he extended it over into Saturday,
What?
and
Wait, what? What just happened?
a couple of the foremen love to play gangster rap on Fridays, and they call it Gangster Rap Fridays.
Are you the only black guy?
I am the only black guy.
Okay. All right, go on.
Uh-huh.
You would think
And
you would think there'd be a meeting like without you, like, hey guys, we're getting rid of this guy's a good worker. We're getting rid of gangster rap Fridays, right?
maybe a little bit of that. And so they're all aged, at least from like 40 to 56. There's like five of the
Sure.
main ones. Anyways, um, all that is to say, apparently it's okay to say the N word on the weekends.
Oh, come on.
No.
And that was the one that I liked. That was the one that was just like, oh, you're gay, it's cool, blah, 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 blah.
International waters and weekends, I always say.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
So I've just been fucking sitting with that recently. I'm just like, I knew it, I knew it was like a good old boys club, in the
Mm.
union and the trades, and I know they're all right wing and all this kind of stuff. And
Right.
yes, of course they probably say it, but to have another apprentice just be like, oh, they be saying it, is just kind of like fucking A, man. I still want to do the job.
Does the DNC being in the news, obviously RNC before that, but this
Yeah.
is making more news, it seems.
Yeah.
I don't think it's my algorithm. Taylor Swift, no joke, might be the thing tonight. It's not about cult of personality. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, Taylor Swift.
Ooh.
But I'm getting revved up. I'm getting excited. Are more people talking at your job that you have to worry about how you say anything politically,
It depends.
especially now?
It depends on like if they're around each other, then they can sort of like work each other up into a frenzy. But if it's just one foreman by himself, he's
Right.
usually not talking about it. But if we all sit down for lunch together, we all just flip out our phones, and here we are like 8 men sitting on the ground in a room, all looking at our phones, not talking to each other. But
Gotcha.
then when they do start talking, it's usually like, oh, did you hear what Trump said? Or I call her Carmela. I'm just like, I can't be around this. I
Right.
can't be around it.
Are these manly men in general, to me,
Hmm.
they're not clever with their fucking jokes. Are
No.
these guys less funny than most people?
Yeah, of
The
course.
tough motherfuckers, yeah?
Absolutely.
It's funny. It goes
Absolutely.
together.
It's just lowest hanging fruit, bottom of the barrel jokes. Like I said, some of the ones I know there's a lot of locker room talk, and it's not something that, you're supposed to repeat. It's a lot of like, you wouldn't say that if that kind of person was in the room.
Mhm.
Like, especially a lot of
Sure.
stuff for women. You wouldn't make that kind of a joke if a woman is in the room. You wouldn't make that kind of a joke if there was like a Latin person in the room and stuff like that. So the natural conclusion is they are definitely saying these things when I'm not in the room.
Sure.
Yeah. And it just becomes one of those things of like, how long do I want to? Nobody's ever said anything directly to me, even if I wanted to like say something about it, I'd be like, well, this apprentice told me, and then it's hearsay.
And then they'll go, what? What?
Right. Exactly. Next thing you know, I'm
You
not.
know you're my favorite fella.
Next thing you know, I'm not in the union anymore or whatever, and I can't
Right.
prove it because I don't know. It's a shitty
Well,
situation.
no matter what you say, they don't realize that what they're doing is not right.
Well, they do
They think
though.
it's
He's saying
okay.
if they because they wouldn't do it when a certain thing is around, a certain person is
Uh,
around. So then
they'll
they do
still
know,
do it,
right?
just
I'm
not right to them, but it's still
Well, that's
not
what I
right
mean. That's
to
what I mean.
say it at all.
I'm still having
Well,
like
sure, of course.
whenever we do have, conversations that are any deeper than what we're doing at work, I'm still talking to 21-year-olds that are just like, yeah, but like, why is it bad for people to say it?
It's like,
Just like,
dude, you're 20. Don't they teach that now?
no, they probably teach that slaves were they were actually happy to do the work and shit like that. I don't
Oh
know. It's
my. They
yeah.
really are burning books because you would think the new generation would be insufferable, right? They're
And
too
meanwhile,
woke.
this guy, like, it's always the guys that are like, oh, I fucking love history. I'm just like, tell me about Tulsa. And they're like, huh? I'm like, oh, okay. You like a certain history, and it's
Yeah.
very easy for you to not even attempt to learn any other kind of histories and context for why people feel certain ways or why people are in certain situations and shit. And this is the guy that listens to fucking Joe Rogan. I'm sure if Joe Rogan
Right.
talked about it, he would have things to say or whatever. But outside of that, it's just and yeah, it can get exhausting.
And they make history so easy now. The Tulsa is explained in The Watchmen, a superhero stupid TV show.
Right.
It's pretty easy to get this information by accident.
Uh-huh.
Mm.
Oh, but they can tell you all about, World War, whatever the fuck, and
Right.
all that kind of shit. Yeah. So that's my secret shame, is nothing that's actually my fault, but how long do I want to exist inside of this sort of situation?
Okay,
And like,
is 1 to 10, like how much to you is this like, are you selling out? Do you feel like you know what I mean? It's life, but
it feels like
is
I
this
would say
different
about a
than life?
7.
Okay,
Every time
7.
I like sometimes we'll be on a work site and there are multiple trades there. So there's electricians, there's floor guys, there's whatever. And I'll look and I'll see another black guy there. And this is only as of late. I'm kind of just like, do I go over and ask him like, hey, so like how long have you been working with your trade? I know you've heard some things. Has it been worth it for you to just stick it out? The guy that was my instructor in class was black. He's been in the
Okay.
union for like 20 years, in this same location. I'm sure he's heard some things, whatever. And
Of
like
course.
like I said, it's not been said to me. there's no reason to like cause an alarm. If I probably said it to somebody, they'd be like, "Yeah, fucking duh. Are you stupid?"
Right. But what'd he say?
So,
He didn't. So he didn't just say. It sounds like what? What? We're just men. What'd he
right.
say?
What did who say?
Did he
No, no, no,
say?
no.
Oh,
I
okay.
haven't asked anybody, but I've
I
been like,
see. I
it's been
see.
bubbling up inside me. Yeah.
Okay, that's a move too. That's a scary move
Uh-huh.
to ask even your teacher. I
Of
wouldn't.
And it,
I
it
course.
could be worse if you move, like if they're not saying it to you, you move to another place, they will say it to you. Like you never, it's a crapshoot, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
I would
Yeah.
skid. I would
unfortunately.
skid off more of your skin if I were you.
Just to try and fit in more. No, no chance.
All right.
Getting darker and stuff. Yeah, right.
You
Yeah,
can't get
no.
laid, but you can fit in more.
It's yeah, that's been the only thing as of late. And it really has like for the last week, I've like a little bit less pep in my step to come in and go to work. Like I was genuinely excited. Maybe I am able to fool myself in some sort of naive way of just being like, no, everything's fine in life. And like these people love me. And like we're all coworkers and we're as close as coworkers can be. And that might still be true, but it doesn't extend far enough for them to just be like, hey, maybe we should stop saying this.
Well, stupid people, they bring up the point about all these different things like, oh, for 500,000, I think I can be treated this way, meaning a lawsuit. And it's like,
Mm.
all right, worst case, you're gonna be fucking rich.
Well, that's what I keep thinking. I was just like, if anybody says anything, if there's any witnesses, I'm fucking
Right.
in. I'm fucking in
Right.
it. And then I'll own the company. And they'll work for me.
At the end of every OSHA videos, and please don't sue.
We had to in the last building that I was at, there was a whole video and they not only talked about diversity and inclusion and making people uncomfortable, they had like a full list of all sorts of like hate symbology that you don't even normally see, and they're just like letting people know if we see stuff like this in the porta johns or whatever, and
Mhm.
that it's not going to be tolerated and stuff. And I'm just like wondering if they're watching these videos and just like laughing and just rolling their eyes the whole fucking time.
Right, right.
Yeah.
I
For
think there's some
example,
people who do.
you're
I think there's
right.
some people who are probably, yeah, they probably are that way.
Yeah.
I
And,
I
and
have
how
been
you
on a
get, and
bit.
it's a bathroom, by the way. Now they're gonna get money if you videotape me in the bathroom.
Everyone's getting fucking sued.
Everybody's getting paid. Sorry, Matthew. What's that?
No, Rod did that podcast for the one guy, Drapetomaniacs or something,
Yeah.
and that was really good. I really enjoyed those shows. But it opened my eyes in a couple ways that I hadn't expected when I was reflecting on the stories that we, at least in the small town where I grew up, it was very European centric on everything,
Hmm.
and you had no other
Mhm.
stories. And I was watching a TV show the other day, and it was a Hispanic mix, person, other out in California someplace, and he just mentioned that it'd be really nice to have some type of background of where I came from. None of the stuff in the book that were they taught us or were teaching us from had anything to do with his story. Which yeah, that would have been the way it was in my town, because Mexico was, we went in there and conquered it so we could get Texas type of thing with the Spanish, what was it, Mexican American War or whatever it was, I forget. But it was like that's the end of it. You have no idea where Mexico started. When people started showing up there, and it was like, okay, this is, and that's when I started digging a little bit more, just out of my own curiosity, because some of the Africans that were in that podcast were free people, and they came over on their own free will,
Hmm.
and then they ended up doing a bunch of exploring and things. It's like, well, that's the shit I want to know about, because how did there's a conflict in the histories that I'm aware of,
Yeah.
in the stories I'm of, where the Indians were aggressive against you, then they're friendly with you, then they're aggressive with you. Okay, fine. How did the guys who just get along with them, how did that happen? How did you guys work this? And this is somebody that they've never seen this color before, that coming in,
Hmm.
because we potentially, in the next 1,000 years or whatever, could run into another species or something. And I've often wondered, well, we're going to do exactly what you see in the movies. We're going to go guns blazing, trying to scare them off. And it's a long shot to believe that the whole world is going to pull together and be like, yeah, we're going to fight these people, and we're going, like the Independence Day thing. It's like, no,
Sure.
we're going to be the same. We're going to have the same divide we do now. North Korea is going to send them a love gram, and the Pentagon's going to try to be blowing them up. It's like, I would like to see us develop as a people, as a country, as everything. And I don't know exactly how you root out that kind of
Sure.
where
Starts at the home. You have to take every kid away from their parents because that's where the problem is.
That's where some of it is, yes. But I think some of it's a bit of education that if we gave a little bit more history of other places, if we did.
No, we're trying to get rid of the Board of Education. We don't want people learning stuff, Matt. That's why, like your shirt says, it's important to vote.
Kamala, Kamala, Kamala.
If you don't want people taking stories out of your school or trying to revise history and stuff, you gotta make sure that you're staying on top of the people who are, teaching the lessons and all that shit.
Exactly. I'm go back to the thing that they were trying. They were trying to throw out one of the books, and I was like, okay, that story is stupid, and it does tell a story of, I think it's Animal Farm. But I was like, Shakespeare, we read 3 plays. They took a half a year to read.
Yeah.
I never understood a damn word of it. I had to use her explanation of whatever the fuck was happening in the story.
She's guessing too, and by she's guessing, I mean her teacher told her if it's fucking poetry, it's poetry. But somehow it. Get the fuck out.
It's an allegory.
Yeah. Okay. So I rate what I got out of it. If it looks like I wrote a lot of words down, I get an A. Fuck off. In fact, we acted out those plays, and I was always the main guy. Othello, Macbeth, whatever. I still don't know what the
main star.
I don't know what I was fucking saying.
Well, that's just, I think most of school is just making people memorize the incorrect facts of history.
My school teachers turned me off to books. That's the fucking truth.
But no critical thinking. It's just memorize this.
In fact, there's the new TV show Bad Monkey with Vince Vaughn on Apple TV. This guy, his name is Carl Hasen. He's the one who wrote it. I'm like, I know that name. He made one of the only books I ever read, Striptease. Later became a Demi Moore movie, 13% on Rotten Tomatoes. It doesn't matter.
You read that.
But I read that, and it was so fucking good. The movie did not encapsulate what Demi Moore and Burt Reynolds were doing, I promise. But my point is, there's only like 5 books I ever read because teachers were assholes about it.
That was Striptease, one of the only books that you've read.
And Starman and Karate Kid.
Jesus Christ. Oh no.
And it's not my fault, it's the teacher's fault.
I get it. I totally get it. I was only able to retain Animorphs all throughout middle and high school. That's all I learned throughout any of those grades. Is Rachel?
Is that a book or a science project?
Oh, it's a whole series of books. Come on.
Okay, all right.
Amazing. Yeah.
Well, I mean, a couple of years ago, they were trying to make that in every school be taught the exact same way, so that you could move from one school to another school at the same time, and you'd be pick up right at the same location.
Jeez.
And somebody, there were all kinds of things going on at the time, and I remember going, that makes sense for about 0.000000001. Everything else goes out the window when you do that, because you stripped everything down to memorize this. This is this. Memorize this. This is this. Which
when depending on it all changes depending on what school you go to. I went to a Catholic private school for 2nd grade, and in the mornings we had Bible study, and then we were taught German, which as we were being taught that, I was like, when am I ever gonna use this? And then the next year I went to school in DC, and like Black History Month was through the whole year. It was like we had like a black workbook, and we were just like learning about people throughout the year and stuff. So yeah, it all depends on a lot. And I hope everybody has Matthew's spirit and wants to learn more, but not from me, because I'm a dummy and I can't teach you anything, but I can point you towards people who can.
All right. 1 second. Hey, baby. New Bad Monkey is out on, so we got a date. All right. Love you. Miss you. Bye. Got to go back. I'm recording. Okay. Thanks. All right, guys.
It's not up to you, Newsy. Us white people have to figure it out we can't be, hey, black person, what's this? Do you know everything about all black people? It's like, no.
Yep.
But yeah, I read a book called White Fragility recently that really, there's so many things that you just don't think about that's like,
Oh, that shit just
yeah,
pissed me off.
that too.
I'm just kidding.
And I just wanted to say sorry that you have to deal with all that news.
Oh, thoughts and prayers. I'm sorry.
Thoughts and prayers. Thank you very much. It's my cross to bear. You know, I've always found myself in this situation in my life, kind of most of my life. Yeah, yeah. There's a lot of times I look around and I'm like, oh, me, I'm the only black guy again. Okay, here we are again.
Yeah, but you had a luxury life in Guam
I did. I had a pretty nice fucking life growing
for a
up,
little
all things
bit, you know.
considered. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But it was like very mixed all the time.
Your dad was still there, so that's a problem.
He's always everywhere you are, there he is. He's the problem. Yeah, yeah.
You
And it's
are
not even-
here. He has a post. His dad had a post of like, "You are here," and then there was like a fist next to it.
It would be ooh, this is probably not appropriate to say mixed company. It would be a poster of somebody with like yellow glowing eyes standing behind me because his eyes are kind of like yellowish or whatever. But we don't talk about that in front of mixed company. You know, that's
Okay,
it.
none of my. I don't know what happened. Sounds
All
like
I
a
hear is
trick.
Joe Biden eyes.
Exactly. Great, 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 great. Those who know will know. But yeah, no sex, nothing special, no recommendations. Before
right.
the show started, somebody who I follow on OnlyFans had a song playing on his thing, and I was just like, oh, I wonder if this is a song that Keith knows. It's sort of like metally. It's called Roots by a band In the Moment.
Well, we just did all
yeah.
that talking. I don't want to
Yeah,
say
that's
I
a good
don't know
song.
a song called Roots.
Matthew agrees it's good. I'd
In
say
the
check
moment
it
is a good
out.
band.
It's
Okay.
pretty cool. It gave me like 2000s like metal, new
Mhm.
metal almost. I think you'd be into it, Keith. You should
Okay, I'll
tell me
check it
if
out.
I'm stupid or
It
not.
reminds you of the good stuff, like when you worked with me and I'd play the good music in the studio. It reminds you of that. That's fun to hear. All right,
Interesting.
good.
Yeah. Welcome to the show indeed.
You could go with any of the last 2 or 3 albums. The last three are in good. The last one was Ritual that I have,
Yeah.
or the last three that I own. Ritual is the last one I bought, and that whole album's pretty good.
Hell
Roots,
yeah.
here comes the roots, ready or not. Say you like me now. Roots, here
I
comes
will
the
say another form of trauma that happens at work every once in a while is when a crazy bitch starts playing and I'm just like I just my whole body just starts just like reacting to it. I'm just like, oh God, this fucking song.
Oh, you don't know the white national anthem?
Crazy bitch. No, right.
Called Break Stuff by
Oh
Limp
man,
Bizkit.
it's just trauma all over the place. Fucking Kid Rock playing, and I'm just like, come on with this already.
Mm.
Can we stop? Yeah,
See,
for
the
things I
problem
do
is
for money.
you have a taste of music that I can't quite connect with your ambient noise and kind of soft things. And you know, I've gone into places that were playing some music I didn't like. And yeah, I played stuff like that before they get in.
Anytime, literally anytime somebody's just like, Jerome, what do you listen to? Let's put your instant. Nope, I don't. I don't want to do that. I already know you'll be
Let's
like,
give you a turn, right? Like you'll
literally
know
every time.
seventh song is me, you assholes. Fuck off.
No, there's no way. I'm not playing my sleepy songs. I'm not playing my anime, jazz music. None of it. You guys don't get to really see the real me. So
Right.
enjoy your smooth opinions and enjoy enjoy all that shit.
But how about on Dark Gangsta Night?
See,
All
I
right,
would
we're
have
just
said,
asking.
I would have been like, can we do Thrash Fridays or Thrash
Right,
Thursdays?
right.
Anything else? I might recommend that or whatever.
Yeah.
I know it has nothing to do with me, but every once in a while we have like, I don't know, an executive walking through the construction area or something like that. And to watch them like scramble to go over and turn the music down when they're around or whatever, I'm
Right.
just like, why aren't you proud to listen to your fucking gangster rap, buds? Just
Right.
put it back on. Why are you like scrambling to go turn it down? You fucking assholes.
Well, that's what I do at the office, but I pick and choose who I'm going to play. You know,
Oh, sure,
there-
of course.
if I'm the first one in the, if I went at this company, I'm not the first one anymore. But when I was the first one in, the first 20 minutes, I knew I was going to be alone. I could play anything, Marilyn Manson or anything I wanted. But as people start flickering in, you're just kind of like, okay. And then I've gotten with this company, I started out with pretty heavy stuff, and then as 8 o'clock comes, it's progressively getting a little bit different. And
Softer.
somebody came in and I had the Beach Boys playing, and they're like,
Nah,
"Oh, I didn't think you'd like this." And I was like, "Oh yeah, I kind of grew up with this kind of music, so it's it's
please, I'm a
He's
man
like
of many
he's
tastes.
like an Uber driver. He knows what you like as you walk by.
no."
uh, huh. Do you get like what do you get, Keith? Because I think I
Hair
missed this
metal for
before,
having
but
no hair. I get hair metal. I'm like, you knew Poison?
yeah, because you look like a
Me?
cop. So they're just like, how what do people play when they're beating up black people? I think metal music, I'm sure. But yeah, every once in a while I'll get into an Uber and it's like top 40s R&B and it's this, tiny Asian woman or whatever. Not saying that she couldn't be into it, but
Sure, right.
all signs with the little Hello Kitty things in the windows pointing to
Doesn't yell
Fidelmas.
Lil Kim.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm just like, I already have my headphones in anyways. Do whatever the fuck you want.
I do feel bad about that sometimes because yes, when they torture people, they were playing metal music at them, and I was a little frustrated. I was excited because I was like, yeah, they're playing the music, good stuff. And then no, it's like no, they're doing it as a torture. But Rod made a comment at some point, I forget where, something about how he was jaded and already was like approving of this. I got
He's
I got
already
into this
accepted
gangster.
it.
Yeah, but this is a good beat. This is a good thing.
Hmm.
And I remember when I first started hearing hip hop and things coming into the school and into my realm, and I heard a couple things, I was kind of like, okay, but it was never in a positive situation where I was like, yeah, this is something I want to take home and buy. It was always something in one of these that was like, shit's gonna go down bad, and you
Oh
guys,
no.
we're all white, so you guys are clearly pretending to take something, and
What were you walking into like a scene from 21 Jump Street? Like there's like rap music playing in the background and some kids getting beat up. Like
more like Little House on the Prairie, but where it's all white. And you go into the locker room and you hear some of this stuff and you're just like, I don't know what that is. Yeah, that's an interesting beat or whatever, but it's like, then you hear the words and you're just kind of like, oh, I can't say any of that shit at home. And
Meanwhile, when I was growing up, my brother got into like rock music first, and anytime my dad would come into the room and hear any of it, he's like, that music's all just about suicide, right? And he's like, I don't know if that's true. To him, if it had a guitar in it, we were learning about suicide. So, yeah, I think until people give other people's stuff a chance, come on, take a walk in somebody else's shoes.
yeah,
Didn't Lou Reed say that is take a walk on the wild side? Do that.
I
That
don't
was
know.
him, right?
I
That
heard a
wasn't.
lot of hip hop in college. I went to the parties with it, and I
Do
was just kind
that.
of like, this is okay. But at the end of the day, I put on my metal or I put on,
Stick with
rock or
what you
some kind of,
love. No one's trying to twist your
What's gonna
arm.
happen? Hey, it's all about suicide, and like well, oh God, what? And you push the stereo box away, and they're like,
He was really
no, I
hoping
don't
for
need
that.
that in my head.
He was
I
really
can see
hoping
the
for that reaction.
right.
Yeah. Instead, I was very quickly listening to Barbie Girl and Aqua and stuff. And
nice.
I think that hurt him more, to be honest. So
I'm surprised, like listening to metal, and he doesn't go. That's about being Jewish.
that he probably he's like, at least you're finding a religion at all. I think he hated growing up in a house full of like agnostic people. It was really hard for him.
It's so funny to hear that could be a choice in a household. Okay.
Oh yeah, church. What? The way that we would all look at him with like disdain when he was just like, "All right, we're gonna go to midnight mass for Christmas," and just like, the fuck for what? None of us care about religion.
God knows I'm rolling my eyes. God knows I'm punching my brother in the leg just to kill time, and we don't mind it too much.
Even I feel like the last time was maybe around the time when I was 13, and when I was fully coming on sheets of printer paper and just throwing it in the wastebasket, not even considering the smell and the change of color and stuff like that, and just being like, mischief managed. Just like right into the waste paper basket.
Problem solved.
Just fucking foul. I would absolutely have a chat with my son if that were the case. Instead, my dad would just knock on my door and say, like, "Well, you choking your chicken in there?" And I'm like, "I wish you'd never seen Beavis and Butthead."
That's not, man, between paper and jerking off. My dad once took a roll of paper towels, and he said the paper towels were in the garbage. We burned our own garbage, our own paper garbage out back. And he goes, I knew what you were doing with this. I'm like, what? This was in the garbage. I'm like, Oh, I don't know. We downstairs. That's where you keep all the stuff in our bedroom, and maybe it fell into the garbage underneath. I don't even know what the fuck you're talking about. And how right away you don't know your kid, 16, 18. You don't know his look when he really doesn't know what the fuck you're talking about.
You're
It's
not a
like,
good actor at that
right.
age, you know.
Well, I'll say it if you want to be embarrassed, but you masturbated on this roll of toilet paper, of this paper towel roll and threw it away. I'm
Is
like,
that how it works?
and
You grab the whole fucking roll and
I
wipe
just
up.
Here.
I come on the roll. Like anything that would make sense would be I'm fucking the roll. But okay. So he thinks I came out and I go, why would I do that when I take it? And I didn't even know I knew of
You
it, I
weren't even
guess, but
jerking off
I
yet.
wasn't even jerking off yet, like a weirdo. That's the weird part. And I'm like, why would I just take a piece? I don't know. Why wouldn't you? Like, okay, well, I don't know. He also neither here nor there. He said he found the battery in the paper bin, burning it out back, and he's like, "You put that in the garbage so that it blow up and kill me." I'm like, "Then how do we live together?" See you tomorrow.
Foiled again.
I am always so sad for people who assume the worst at first all the time of the people that are in their lives.
Because they're the worst.
Yeah, really, you're just projecting. You're just projecting what you would have done with this.
Right.
And then everybody else in their lives just become as like assassins everywhere. You know, you see these people trying to kill them all over the place. It's crazy.
Right.
Yeah. Well,
it's like when you're the nice person and the other person thinks you're cheating. Then it's like, okay, that means you're fucking cheating.
That's it. Simple math. I think it was in the Bible. What are the commandments? Can't be clear.
In relationships too.
2005 episode.
No guest.
123. No guest.
Took a risk worth it. Paid off big. What episode number? Sorry.
Episode 123.
Okay. Jeff the jerk off.
Let's say most of the time you all record in the evening, right? Then
morning.
It was like it's not the evening, but it's
afternoon, evening,
early afternoon.
It's in the morning.
Twilight.
You have
dusk.
The E word. That's important.
Okay.
It is the early blank.
The early show.
The early show.
Boom. Oh,
right.
I'd like to double up my points for the next one. Go on.
Okay. Double or nothing. Who gets up this early is the first question you have. It's just a little afternoon,
Just still crazy.
Just a little afternoon. You also say never start your day at Kinko's, Chemda needed some headshots.
That's true.
And now a little bit later in the story, she admits that she did wait till like the very last minute. So then you found yourself at Kinko's and they kept on fucking it up. But because you needed it, you just had to sit there and take the fuck up and be like, excuse me, please, can you print it fucking right?
Please. I fucked up. It's like minimum wage. I fucked up by telling you exactly what to do. Could we do it the same way? My fault, but let's do it the same way. Exactly. And see if it's
just
different.
listen.
Yeah. Dude, I'm so that way. I don't. Maybe it's like a people pleaser thing or something. Even if I know somebody did something wrong, I will find 10,000 ways to just be like, so, I mean, I just noticed this thing. I'm not saying you did it, even though you did. I'm not saying you did it, but somehow it happened. Is there a way that we can try and like resolve it? Like, I don't like placing blame like that. So I can absolutely see, in any sort of space, especially like that. Now, the me who used to work at a print shop and used to print photos, Chemda was complaining like, oh, the picture was too dark. It's darker than, how it looks on a computer. And immediately the customer service me is just like, yeah, because you have your computer at full brightness at all times. So the picture that you see is going to be different than the picture that gets printed out. But instead, literally, it should just be like, okay, how can we resolve that? Like, instead of going through and explaining that to the customer, a good customer service person is just like, I hear you. How can we fix this?
25 cents.
But that was not happening that day. You went there just for a picture and ended up leaving an hour later with pictures that weren't even good, but you just had to suck it up because. So
yeah. Well,
just
anyway,
like
there's no Kinko's anymore, right? Or it's FedEx Kinko's? Or
it's
just
FedEx Kinko's. Yeah. Okay. Kinko's is just a department. It's no longer a thing.
Okay.
So
How stupid.
This is during the time when Chemda was doing the first round of the Viva Pachiva, back when it was called like the Gypsy Play or whatever the
Okay.
fuck. And this is when Joey Gay was filling in.
Yes.
There was the main person had dropped out for whatever reason, and pretty last minute, Joey Gay came in. He got the script mostly memorized like very quickly and stuff. So you guys were all very happy that he was able to do that. Just fill in.
Was I in that at the time?
No, 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 no.
Okay.
But him,
I remember he was a recovered alcoholic. I was an alcoholic asshole, and I just thought it'd be funny to put when I was in the play, he drank from a flask, his character, and I
Ooh.
put Clamato juice in his flask.
Okay.
Not alcoholic,
Sure.
but just to be goofy. And so
Uh-huh.
he drinks on stage. His eyes change. He runs in the back and he spits it out like, "What the fuck did I just drink?" I
Holy
never told him.
shit.
Yeah.
All right, and actually we have on the line here Joey Gay. Welcome to CHU A.
So it was a subtle roll.
So you're saying he yells a little bit.
He yells a little bit. You know the story. He was nice enough to open for my first stand-up album, Coming of Age.
Mhm.
And he was great and he was very funny. But then he gets Last Comic Standing, where it feels like a bigger stage, quite frankly, to him. And
Yeah.
he yells all his jokes holding the mic. And to me, I'm like, I'm glad you didn't do that, but that means you didn't give me your best.
It's always about Keith somehow.
It was my show. You didn't give your best. I'm glad you didn't, but
Have you ever? You're to say surprisingly good at this seems like an insult, but you're surprisingly good at giving like pep talks that are very just like to the point. You don't mince words. You're just like, hey, um,
thank you.
going forward for this thing, I would like for this to be this. Have you ever done that before the show? Just sort of just been like, just go out there and give it your all, like it's at Madison Square Garden, or do you just sort of trust
No,
that the
I
person's going to do
feel
it?
like it would be. You know, I was thinking about this. I remember doing one at the Comedy Store, like a pep thing
Mm.
for all you guys. You were there, of course. I was very proud of myself. I'm like, look at me being like a fucking in charge. No, because I think it would be insulting. Like
Sure.
when I have a Bonnie McFarlane open for me, or Mike Lawrence, anybody,
Yeah.
it'd be insulting. It's like
Mhm.
do what you do. If you say something before that could fit before I come out, I'll put it on the album. We'll see if you
Nice.
care your best. Some people did not care their best. Ian McEnany couldn't give a shit. He came hungover and told the crowd he was hungover, and I'm like, okay, but what I'm going to tell you, don't go out there like you're hungover, buddy. You know, then he's one of those weird comics that'd be like, I was told not to tell you I'm hungover. You know,
Sure.
so you
Yeah.
just got to hope for the best. You got a professional for a reason.
Okay.
So no,
Yeah.
I would never say anything to them.
I think most of the experience that I've heard of you doing things like that, it's to an intern. How do you take a shower? Do you take a shower? You gotta take a shower. What's the smell? There's a smell situation.
I was
we gotta
told
take care
too.
of this.
That's pretty true. Yeah, he is. You are able to be direct and impeccable with your word. So, in some Who Are news, they are now making a robot bat that can detect and emit the same frequency waves as a bat. Like, I
Good.
guess cool. We needed that. Maybe
we need bats all together.
probably. I don't know. Keith was showing a bunch of robot animals that have already existed in the world, and he's like, for what? So there's
Yep,
some Who Are
no
news.
need. No
Do you
need.
ever think that one day the algorithm or whatever is going to go back and listen to all these old episodes and they'll just be like, "Who are, huh? I got your
Yeah.
fucking Windex."
Right. Well, hopefully it recognizes the word. These robots recognize the word comedian.
Oh,
Comedians just say shit, and it means nothing. And
right.
a podcaster needs a podcast. That's a computer.
Uh-huh.
So yeah.
Don't you mean modern day philosophers?
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. I think you guys mean what you say. I don't know.
Right.
So then you're now adjusting to having a phone number because you're pretty new to having
Yes.
that enabling live calls. And so Hamdi gives out the number. She's just like, there's going to be a 3-question contest that's going to be happening later on the show. So if you have the number, call in. A minute later, you guys get a call from Steve in New Jersey.
All right.
And so you ask him, hey, how long have you been listening? He's like, about 2 months. And Hamdi's just like, okay, well, let's hope you can get these questions right because they're
I
related
can't
to the
change them.
show.
Right.
Uh-huh. So the first question is, who are three guests that have been on Keith and the Girl?
Okay.
And
That's
then she
easy.
says, you have 10 seconds. Now, the
Mhm.
call quality is so fucking poor. It's just like, there's no way that he could even hear what she was asking, let
I
alone
see.
be able to give that answer within 10 seconds. Like 10 seconds is absolutely bonkers. So, he's just
Well,
like,
it's over. It is, and I understand how much pressure a phone call is,
yeah,
quite frankly. Like, Newsy, name 5 cereals. Go. 10, 9,
Fruit Loops,
8,
Tricks,
7, 6,
Honey Nut
5,
Cheerios,
4, 3,
Special K,
2,
Frosted Flakes.
1. All right. All right.
I
You're a
was
pro.
struggling though.
Yeah.
My mind is like I'm like flipping through like an old CD binder. That's
Right.
how I was like accessing my memories. Yeah. 10 seconds for a show that you're fairly new to. He only got one. He guessed DJ Quad and the timer ran out.
Okay.
So then he was bounced because you're like, if you don't get the first question, then you don't
Well,
even
we
get
got to move
access
on.
to the rest. You
Yeah.
got to move on. Keith is just like, that was totally worth it. So that was the intro to that show, but it's fun. Maybe go listen back to it if you want to if you want to try to answer the questions on your own, based on Keith and the Girl Jeopardy. I will always remember that
That's fun.
Hamda went to Solomon Schechter Elementary.
Right.
That's a thing that I'll just know for the rest of my life now. So there you go. 2008 is
All
the
right.
next episode. It is number 796.
Okay.
And let's say that somebody's just like, "Hey, Jerome, stand in line," and then I look down and I don't see a line. I might say,
Where's the
Fire.
line?
"Where's the
Boom.
line?
Where's the line?
Where's the line?"
That sounds like me.
It sounds like I gave you most of the answer, but I thought about it later and I was like, it was still gonna be worth it. And so this is with the number one scam queen on the
Patrice.
scene, Patrice. Actually, Matt, I heard it. I heard it
Mm.
clear as Keith. You reached over to press the bell, and that took some of the wind out of your sails.
Check
So
the tape. Check the
check,
tape.
check the
I
tape.
agree, Matthew.
That was Matthew. Thank you.
All right.
So a listener writes in with a question. It's a question with a tone. You know what I mean?
Okay.
What drugs are okay? Uh, Keith and Brolo seem to partake in some and condemn the rest. Where's the
Right.
line? So that's where
The
title comes
cocaine
from.
line. I mean, what do you mean? Where's the line? If only we knew which ones were harder than others. Which, which ones
Well,
don't you just open in front of people without knowing who you're with?
uh-huh. You
Necessarily?
say like,
Those
"Hey, are you
ones.
cool?" Yeah.
The answer is whatever Hemda would take in 2008 without questioning it.
Right.
That means nothing.
Right.
Well, Hemda and Patrice answer at the same time, and Patrice says, "When you're going into your mom's purse," and Hemda says, "When your kids are being taken by the court." So, like, those are pretty good
Okay,
lines, you know.
okay.
That's the line.
If you need to do that for those drugs, you're wrong.
Yeah, right. Keith is just like, no, we never like condemned them. I don't think that they should be legal for these reasons. He's just like, weed, I think it is addictive, and I think more people would use it if it became illegal. And if you start when you're young, you might not have as much of a chance at life. So, what's your stance on weed 2024?
Well, it's all about age, is what I was saying. And I dated somebody recently. The kids are fucked up. It started with weed, and maybe the gateway thing is a silly thing, but it was just weed and alcohol, and then those two simple things
Mm-hmm.
fucked them up. Now there's plenty of time that they're on the right track, but yeah, I don't know. We're talking age, I think, and
Sure.
yeah, it's not the fucking greatest. I never
Yeah, they
met
put
somebody and went, how did you become the fucking president of the company? I'm not gonna lie to you, fucking weed.
I don't disagree about it needing to be a certain time. I didn't start until I was 25, and I feel like it's for the best. If I had been introduced to it and offered it in high school and middle school, but if I did it then and I liked it then the way that I like it as an adult, all my paychecks when I was at the movie theater would have been going to try and get weed. The amount of times that I'm sneaking in the house now or trying to smoke out back and getting caught because I stink like it, like everything about my life would have been about weed if I liked it as
Right.
much. I'm sure I would have been smoking in between classes and whatever. So I'm just glad that I got to it at the time of my life that I did.
Yeah, and I don't need emails about it. I was just in the chat room yesterday, so I'm smoking fucking trees. but to act like it's nothing is a little silly.
Sure. You say you draw the line at meth, heroin, huffing gas from your own shit.
That's a good answer. I
And
say
so
so myself.
come to cuts in, she's just like, well, any kind of huffing. And then so Patrice adds crack. And then
Okay.
Feldman mentions that Keith has his own story with crack. You want to just give us a quick rundown with that for
I
anybody who doesn't know?
was not that the excuse matters, but I was drunk and I was upset that I was uh a relationship didn't work out or I was dumped. I forget. I even forget who this woman is, but I remember that's the situation. I remember the bar I was at. As by West 4th, I walked past this phone booth, same woman I always walk past going to work. And she was obviously selling crack. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to try it today. And I took a little bit and that was free, by the way. And
First hit is.
it was the greatest. My dick ballooned up and it's everything in your body's fucking fantastic. I'm like, all right, I'll fucking buy some. And you want it right away. It goes so fast, the high, but right there they have you for that literal 3 seconds. And I like open my wallet. She just reaches in, takes the money out. Then
Good
she
Lord.
left me enough for a Subway. Like she doesn't want me to die, so that I come back.
Mhm.
And then I'm on the Subway, and so I have a little piece of crack rock. She even threw in some weed. And then like almost I don't know, like almost she knows she's ruining my life, but she's like, "What
Maybe this will
let's give
soften
this
the
guy a
blow."
little weed to mellow it out." My heart's pounding in the Subway. I'm like, I'm gonna die. Should I call the hospital? Well, I can't call the hospital, so let's hopefully not die. Then I'm on the Subway. Maybe it's an hour ride. Let's say, I don't know, middle of the night, and I take the time to like I think there's like one or two people on the Subway on one side. I go to the other side of the car and I'm on my knees trying to use a credit card to break up this rock. And I
Jeez.
couldn't do it just like sitting down. The angle wasn't right. So I
Oh my
tried this.
God. You're like,
And I'm
well, you
like,
guys are in my living room. You're the weird ones.
right. And it's like, you don't know what I'm doing anyway. So who gives a shit?
Oh my
But
God.
it wouldn't really work. I tried to smoke, like whatever. It wasn't working. By the time I get home, I was sober, and I really, at least crack wise, and I realized like this is so fucking dangerous that I threw out the crack, I threw out the weed, I threw out the weed pipe I have. I'm like, never again any of this shit. Uh, that's the only time I did crack. But goddamn, yeah, that can ruin a fucking life. Easy.
No, only Keith Malley, who can eat half a sandwich and say, no, I'm good with this, can do crack once and just be like, no, I'm okay with, I
It's
don't need
bad.
this.
Yeah. No, don't tell me everything
Same.
should be legal. Yeah.
It's gonna ruin my dinner, so I'm gonna get rid of this crack.
Did you only do it once, Davida?
Yeah, I've almost tried everything. The only things I drew the line at heroin and meth. Because I was going to raves at that time and I seen what it did to people. I held off on cocaine for quite a while too because it just seemed like everybody was very greedy and evil and like I don't know, I
Right.
just did not like the way it looked. But I pretty much tried everything just once to see what it was like. Crack was accidental. I thought it was weed, but then it was like
You thought it was white clear weed?
no, it was sprinkled in like a joint or something.
Okay, Jesus.
I've had a few of those too, where it was like, oh, I think there was PCP in that or something like that wasn't regular weed. But
That was always
why did
my
people
mom's
waste the good
concern.
why do people waste the good stuff like that? That they would just want you to walk around thinking this guy's the best weed.
Yeah, so
people
they come
used
back to buy it from
do
you.
that to secretly trick you, like to watch you be fucked up.
Maybe
That
so they can
sucks.
also have a buddy. You know what I mean? So they
Now
can
we're both
like, oh,
tweaking.
you do it now. You're gonna start doing it. I do it now. I'm not so fucked up. We're
It's
all gonna
crazy
do it.
because like for years, my mom, she grew up in California. She, she hung out with surfers. She hung out with drug dealers. These are just her words. And so she didn't have like a fear of weed. She didn't think it was gonna like destroy my life or anything. But she was like, if you're gonna smoke, make sure it's not laced with anything. And I'm like, I don't even know how I would know if it was laced with anything.
Right.
Nobody's gonna tell me that this is the special weed. You're just gonna smoke it. Next thing you know, you're like Smokey and fucking Friday. But even still to this day, I don't think, to my knowledge, that I've had anything laced. And I'm quite thankful for that because, like, holy shit, that could take you down a dark path.
Yeah, I got roofied once too. That was scary.
Ugh.
Yeah.
A buddy or what? Or what?
No, I was at a wasn't a, it was at a nightclub, but it was basically a rave at a nightclub. And yeah, I used to drive to Toronto quite a bit, and I would go, and last call was at 2. I'd have, 3 or 4 beers or something, and then stop drinking, stay at the party till 6 in the morning, smoke a bit of weed or whatever. But yeah, I remember the first hour I was there, and then I was just passed out on the floor.
Ah.
After drinking 2 beers, I was like, well, this isn't normal.
What do you think somebody gets out of it? To rob you, to fuck you, or just to be funny?
I think it might have just been a mistaken, or people, I don't know, people used to just do that to people. But yeah,
Well,
Okay.
I don't know if I was the intended target.
Right. But it's
a
flattering to think so.
a friend came into town and he brought his girl friend, a friend that is a woman, with him. And we went to the bar that's across the street from my house. I had gone there a bunch of times. This is here in Pittsburgh. And we're there that night and we leave because she's like, she looks like she's like getting pretty sick. And we go to my place and she like throws up and she's just like, she keeps saying as much as she can. She's just like, look, I can drink normally. It's something's wrong. Like I don't know, but something's wrong. Me and my friend were just kind of like, I don't know, we are like 26 maybe. We are just kind of like, oh no, that sucks. I don't know. It's just whatever. So we hung out with her throughout the night, make sure she was okay, and she was okay and stuff. And the next day she was like, I think I got roofied, and I was just like, I don't know this place. I don't fucking know. Yeah, absolutely she did, and like multiple people at that bar had gotten roofied, and it's just like she was just a girl that was in town for one night. Not that it means any difference, but like maybe they look for people who aren't from the area or whatever the case is, whatever. So I don't know. More often than not, if you think that somebody fucking spiked your drink, it's very possible.
When I was at the Waffle House, the woman said that, do you want to take this pill? It's fun. And I'm like, are you trying to roofie me? And she's like, you're good.
Oh, you're a fun time guy. Okay, I see. I got some crack for you. So come to you tell your story on the show, and then Patrice says, actually, you're a crackhead, and Keith says, well, actually, I'm a veteran, and oh, no, you said that you said I'm a survivor, and she says you're actually a crackhead, and so then she says, you say, well, if I'm a veteran, I'm also a crackhead. So you were all these things at once.
So now just admit I'm a veteran. God damn it.
Right. And gave me my crack discount.
Mhm.
Speaking of drugs, Keith is reading the Heroin Diaries,
So good.
and is finding out that Nikki Sixx is very upset at the people who were in his life and in his orbit during the time that he was using and who won't come out and talk about it. He's just like, you fucking cowards. I talked about it. You should talk about it too. And it's just kind of like, it's not really your story to tell other people's business. You can tell your shit, but that's about it, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Let's say you did something with Axl Rose. Yeah, write it in the book. I want to hear about it, but don't expect Axl to all of a sudden he's got to write a fucking book.
Exactly.
I don't know how much of I don't know how much of his book is true because the Heroin Diaries, I think it's so funny too. But this guy, for being smacked the fuck out, is so goddamn hilarious. It's questionable.
Did he ever do like a one-man show based on everything in the book? Because he probably should have.
He did music based on it.
Oh, I don't need to hear that. No, it's okay. We don't.
No, come on. It's so good. 6 a.m. is so good.
I bet. You know what? I'll play it at work, and I bet everybody will calm down for a minute and just be like, wow, Jerome, you really are one of the good ones.
And you open your eyes.
I remember that one. Yeah.
This is gonna hurt. Listen up.
We love talking about hurt.
Devil in the church.
Keith, during this time, you are actually watching the show Intervention. Speaking of rehab and all that kind of stuff, and you're fucking loving it. You're loving it.
I love it.
You wonder if at some point one of these people are going to sue the show because, like, sometimes in order to get you to do the intervention, they'll like film you doing it. They're like, oh, this is a documentary and stuff like that. You're like, is somebody ever going to get clean and then sue because it's just like, you guys let me do heroin on the show.
Right. One more time couldn't have helped me.
Right. You know, Patrice mentions one of her favorite episodes where, yeah, exactly that thing happens. The woman wouldn't sit down for the intervention unless they gave her a beer. Which is like, I think that's kind of okay. It's just like
Sure.
this could be your last one. Have a farewell one while we rip you apart, you know?
I hope it was a good one though. I hope it's like a Stella and not a
Not a PBR.
not a PBR.
Right, right. So yes, Keith then watched a documentary about a military recruiter. I think it was called The Recruiter. And he said it was like a fine enough documentary, you know. It was
I
just
forget. Okay.
they talked about exactly what happens with a recruiter. And so Hemda saw it also, and she's realizing how it works well. It works the best on kids that like didn't have dads because this guy steps
Sure.
in. All of a sudden, he's giving you attention now. He's interested in what you're doing. He's actually showing up to your baseball game, and he's
Yes.
coming to work out with you in the gym and stuff like that. And all of a sudden, you find yourself in this position of wanting to like impress this guy, or get approval from this
When
guy.
my recruiter knew that me and my dad didn't get along, honestly, he pre-came, tried to hide it, right in his pants, right in his pleated pants. Yeah, and then
We're
we're in
talking
the
about the
car.
test.
Then we're in the car taking the test.
ASVAB.
ASVAB. Oh, right. I'm thinking the two drunk women. And then he goes, your dad doesn't think you can pass this test. And I'm like, that feels like a lie, but I can kind of see him saying that, so I don't know. But anyway, fuck him. Let's go take the test.
I can see myself in the margin of the paper just being like writing like "fuck you, dad," and just like referring to that back and forth as like motivation because he got you.
They are little tricksters, and I don't remember what the rules are, but like as a sergeant, I don't know if you're not in war, you had to either be a drill instructor or a recruiter. And
Ooh.
I always looked at the people that picked recruiter as shady.
Yeah,
Always.
no, well, either you're yelling at people or you're like
Or you're
manipulating
kissing
people,
their
but
ass.
either.
Like you're the strongest man I ever met. You'd be great. I'm like, I never ran a mile in my fucking life. Ah, don't worry about it.
Mile schmile. Nobody runs a mile in this shit. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. It's always that was a pretty fun show, and the vibes were pretty good. And of course, we always like hearing about like your past stories and stuff. So
Right.
that one was worth
Recruiters
it.
shaking your hands and shit. Like, imagine you go to boot camp, you start shaking hands with sergeants. Okay.
You get the total wrong idea. You'll be like, "Hello, sir." The recruiter seemed to think this was okay. I've said this in the past, but they were at my high school, and this was, before "Don't Ask, Don't Tell" was repealed. So whenever they came up to me and they're just like, "Oh, you look like you'd be great in the military," and I would say like, "Oh, is "Don't Ask, Don't Tell" still a thing?" And zip, it's quiet silence. They
He goes,
didn't have
uh-huh.
And honestly, probably if "Don't Ask, Don't Tell" wasn't a thing when I was in high school, I probably would just join the Navy. I would have.
Yep.
It would have just been that easy. Of just like, okay, cool. I already know what this life is like. I'm gonna get to travel around, be on boats with a bunch of men, have to be in these like sweaty enclosed. What do you say, a submarine where there's
In
like
the Navy.
exactly
Right. The YMCA and shit. Yeah.
Yeah,
know
I
those
was a
guys.
prime candidate for the Navy. I could have been an officer and a gentleman.
But not
And
a
there's
gentleman.
nowhere for them to go.
Right.
What are you gonna dive into these shark-infested waters?
Right.
No. It's just bros hanging out, bro. Just
They're like, yeah, shore leave. No, let's just stay here in the sun.
No, if you go out there, you're gonna get an STI. I heard about it all the time. Just stay on the boat. Come
Here,
on.
we know each other.
We're bonding, So next episode takes place in 2009.
Yep.
Episode 1025. Listen up, y'all. It's a
It's a sabotage.
sabotage. Come on. We're doing silent music right now.
That's
That
right.
was,
You took a while, so I'm going to say no guest.
There's a guest. There's a guest.
Okay, all right.
Gosh, speaking of me talking about race, the way that I just go to race with all these things. She's Italian.
Julia Rozzi.
Correct. Very good.
Holy
Great.
shit!
That's it.
I got to take a victory lap. One second.
He's on
It's that
fire.
fucking easy. Keith will enjoy this as well, but at the very beginning of the show, we talk about a very heavily tattooed guest. We can all guess
Elvis?
who that is. Elvis, absolutely. Bonus points. Keith didn't hear it, but they count. Elvis is reporting in that he wants feedback on which tattoo he should get. Adam Brown had drawn one that's like the "I shit on you," all kinds of stuff. Now, fast forward in time, we know that he ends up getting them all. He's just like, I don't just want the shit on you tattoo. I'll have them all. Thank you.
It's a drinking bar.
His tattoos are so good.
It really is a test to, the community that you've built up.
I love it. KeithandGirl.com/tattoos. These are so good. Elvis is above and beyond. I love it. I love it. It's a human fucking Keith and the Girl mural.
Absolutely. And recently, during this time, Elvis's brother was in the chat room and he told you guys a funny story about an oxygen tank.
Oh my God, yes. Maybe you're like Keith, the shit you remember. How do you forget this? So Elvis needs an oxygen tank. He has leukemia, had leukemia. One of his tattoos is, I have leukemia, but leukemia don't have me. Something's definitely spelled wrong. And he has an oxygen tank, and his son filled up his tank with Sprite as opposed to the air he needs. And they both found it hilarious later when he tried to take a sip.
Just that stuff that you were saying on the show is exactly what I was thinking of. Just like, so how do you get Sprite out of an oxygen tank?
Right.
What do you say when you need to go get it refilled? I'm like, is there a way you can clean it out? It's got
Extra.
some fucking sticky, syrupy residue inside. Like, is it worth it? At the
Right.
time, Elvis was just like, oh, he got me. I'll get him back. And I'm like, all right.
With a knife? How are you going to get him back?
You guys live a crazy life.
Here's a battery.
Sprites.
We're gonna have a fire later.
Like somebody's got a pacemaker and you just like have a microwave in that's like not plugged in and you're hovering around the plug. Like I don't need these kinds of jokes. So then this is also around the time you say, speaking of Sabotage, the Burger Off video just dropped and Julia was quite upset that she was not invited. And you were just like,
She was
Burger
nervous.
Off. We just had a chili off. You're just in time for this. Up next, we're gonna have a surf and turf off, and I'm the judge. And she was just like, I'm a burger kind of gal, but nice try, Keith. Nice try.
All right. I was hungry.
You should do that again, anyways, Keith. You got a backyard. Have one last thing before the summer goes out, and invite some
You're right.
comedians over, and just have something off.
Okay.
People love that shit. So
Yeah, we have the app. I don't know if the app has the Burger Off. It definitely has a hot dog eating contest. I think it has a chili off. And all the offs might be there under Keith and the Girl TV. The pizza eating contest. Yeah, there's a bunch of stuff there.
We used to have fun. Those were good times.
Oh yeah, we did a pizza eating contest with like 4 contestants, and they did pretty well. And then we had a one-on-one pizza eating contest between Danny and Hemda. And Hemda was like, I love pizza. Well, guess who won, guys?
It wasn't her.
It wasn't even fucking close.
Was it the starving intern
Right.
sleeping on the floor without a mattress? I don't know.
He's like, can I lay on one of the pizza slices and eat the other?
That was good times. So you're talking about the Burger Off, and our friend Cole ended up winning. She had this breakfast burger. She's got ground sausage mixed up in it, egg, all kinds of cool shit, and she ended up winning. But during this, you don't see the full edit of the video until it's done. And so Keith is watching it and he's just like, speaking of fucking Sabotage, they're in there. Cole says to the camera, she's just like, they're going to love this, but they're going to love it even more because they're drunk. Like, it's like a perfect drunk burger. And so Hemda's just like, well, should we give the judges shots? And Keith's like, the fuck, you're my sous chef. And you're fucking, you're over here helping the other person win by plying him with shots and stuff like that. The fuck is going on? But then she reminds Keith, she said, sous chef, yes. Teammate, no. You made that very clear that I am not on your team. It is a one Keith operation, and everything that I did was above board.
So we get our burgers. We got our burger. Yeah, we were competing. We got our burgers last minute. They were frozen.
Very last minute. I was there during that day and watching him to go to the store and come back with these frozen burgers because Keith was just like, oh, I don't know. Why would I need to get them ahead of time? It's today.
You think they'd be fresh burgers, but you need a lot of burgers for all these people. But then the gimmick was we got McDonald's boxes.
Yeah,
so we served the barbecue burgers
right.
in McDonald's boxes with cute little Dixie cups of ketchup and mayo. And your napkin was a $5 bill, but we lost. I lost,
Came in
apparently.
4th place, actually. To be
I think there are
exact.
only 3. Oh, shit.
Julia asks you, what was on the burger, and do you remember the ingredients you used?
For me,
Yeah.
salt and pepper.
It was a frozen patty, Worcestershire sauce,
Oh,
and
yeah.
that's it.
I do use that. Okay.
And also the condiments that the devil woman chopped up for him. That was his sous chef Chemda.
Yes. Lettuce and tomato and onion. I make good burgers, but yeah, you can't just throw them frozen on a barbecue grill.
I know we've discussed it before, but one of my favorite memories was we go over to Keats and he's just like, "Oh, you guys want a burger?" And we're just like, "Yeah, okay." He's like, "I'm doing this new thing. It's a pizza burger, whatever." He's
Right.
making it.
Spaghetti sauce, yeah.
Spaghetti sauce. But then he goes to make the bacon.
Mm-hmm.
And it falls like you don't do any kind of prep. You don't put anything on top. You just lay strips of bacon out on top of the grill.
Here's the thing, because of
Next
course I
thing you
remember
know,
this.
they'd all fall right inside.
They didn't fall, but the grease fires everything up, and everybody's like, "Keith, you idiot!" And I'm like, "You assholes were here. You saw me put the bacon on without your prep. Now all of a sudden, you're fucking Chef Boyardee over here telling me everybody knows you don't do that. No one knew not to do that either, by the way."
That is the ultimate officer. I didn't know I couldn't do that. Like, it's just, meanwhile, once again, I'm like 24, 25. I don't cook shit. There's no way I would have known. Everything to me was just like, yeah, seems like a good idea.
Yeah.
You want bacon, you put it on the grill. Oh God, it was such a good fucking memory. It tickles me all the time.
Oh, it blew the fuck out.
Also, going back and talking about your crack story, there's so many, being a Keith and the Girl fan and then moving to New York and then experiencing New York through the eyes of a Keith and the Girl fan. The West Fourth phone booth was like, it was like a spot in a movie for me. It was like a scene out of a movie. When I came across it the first time, I'm like, this is where Keith did crack.
And it's a pretty area too, meaning like
it's
the
such a nice
streets, maybe a
area.
little triangle. It's kind of cool.
In the fall, it's gorgeous, the leaves and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, literally like the way that people go visit like Sex in the City places or whatever, I'm just like, and this is the phone booth where it all happened. So it might still be out there. Who knows,
a tour.
Keith and the Girl guided tour. Yeah, that's right.
Crack booth.
We have a fake crack lady there,
Yeah, she's a paid actress, and she just goes through the lines like an NPC for everybody who walks by.
You're really taking non-weed vape, just regular shit.
Right, but she will take the money out of your wallet, and that's her part of her payment.
You'll like that. That's kind of cute. She leaves you 75 cents for the subway or whatever.
Yeah.
I think Shalala would do that job.
I think that would be so good. I think it'd be so good.
They get some oregano and salt.
Right.
Yeah, honestly, yeah. The next episode we have takes place in 2010, episode 1242.
1232. 1232?
1242.
1242. Okay.
Let's say there's somebody in your life and you don't want them there, but you were yelling it. What would you say to them?
Get the fuck out of here.
Kind of.
Gally leave.
Go to hell.
Go away.
Somebody's in my life and I want them to
get out of my life.
There. Get out of my life.
Come on, guys. Listen.
Get into my car.
Get into my car. Exactly. The show is starting out a little bit late today.
Because there's no guest.
Because there's no guest. Craig Klein, maybe take your headphones off for a second. The show's starting a little bit late today because Keith had the shower dumps. And I'm guessing that's just when it's just nothing solid is coming out.
That's what it sounds like.
That's what it sounds like.
That's what it sounds like.
Chemda predicted it. It's always
does Craig hate shit talk or something?
Yeah, he does. He's not a fan.
Oh, okay.
I always like to warn him ahead of time. And
That's sweet.
maybe 3/4 of this particular episode we're talking about bowel movements. So, maybe do something nice and pleasant, Craig, for the next 2 minutes or so.
Or take a dump. Maybe it helps.
Or birds of a feather.
He's in the tub right
We
now.
talked about shit and poo last night, and he didn't seem to. He was okay with it.
Great.
No, this
Dominic had a good breakdown.
As you came to your journey and you came to accepting your alcoholism in your own time.
Thank you.
There definitely there's always a period of the show when you can tell that Chemda is like feeling a way about it and still trying to be like a good show partner, but the like the I told you so, it's there. It's a little bit
Yes.
so like
Yeah.
you know, you're saying like I started the show late because I had the shits. She's just like, yeah, I could have told you that yesterday that was gonna happen. And I'm listening, I'm just like, okay, I know where we are.
Well, where were you yesterday?
Right. You weren't
Next
around
to
to
you
tell me
telling
about the
you.
bacon. You didn't tell me about the shower
Right.
shits.
It's like if I'm goofing around, I fall down steps, and then my mom's like, "I knew that would have happened," and it's like, "Well, you should have said something. It hurt."
So she says, you know, you partied last night and she knew that your morning was going to be like this. She was like, it's always been like this the whole 5 years that we've been, you know, business partners. You party the night before and then the next day for at least an hour, you're in and out of the bathroom. Just like, oh, I'm just going to go right back over for a little bit more.
A little
You
bit
know,
more. I didn't finish the newspaper yet.
right. I'm still in my office, you know, this is office hours. So Keith is just like, man, I feel bad for the Chilean miners who are stuck in that fucking place. Can you imagine having to go shit when you're fucking stuck in a mine with like 33 other people? Like
That's
it's
right.
gotta smell awful down there. Um, Keith talks about how one of Hemda's brothers will shower after every time, and you kind of developed that after a
Funny.
certain point. Keith was the fastest shower in the West.
Yeah. Did I laugh at the brother like that's silly to take
Yes, you
showers?
did. Uh-huh.
Oh, I do it to this day.
I
I mean, I
know.
wipe my ass. I'm not an animal, but I
Hmm.
go and then I take
That
a
might have
shower.
been the turning point.
And I'm out in 10 fucking seconds. I do it at Liz's place.
Hmm.
She seems to be cool with it.
Um,
Yeah, and I really think everybody's walking around with a little dookie up there, or at least some kind of
Sure.
mark. I don't see how you wouldn't.
Sometimes if I do go to the bathroom at work, like I'll get home and just spray it out without even having to go to the bathroom. I'll just go to my bidet and just give it a nice little like
Yeah,
blast
same
it and
thing.
wipe it
I just
down.
don't have a bidet. Yeah, I have
Hmm.
the ultimate bidet.
It's a whole shower. You would as an intern, you would you know, Keith would disappear for a second and then you hear the shower running and then it was done and he's back out and he's dressed again. I'm like, are you fucking Batman? Like what is happening? You shit so fast and then you took a shower and you're completely dressed again so quickly. It's
Mhm.
insane.
Thank you,
So
thank you.
kudos to you and you're a skilled man.
I remember
Uh
getting a studio where studios where we didn't live, but they were regular apartments. But I'm like, this feels like cheating. Like I'm at work and I have my own shower. Fucking crazy.
Everyone should be living like this.
I had one of my stand-ups albums, and I think it was the one with Bonnie and Carmen Lynch. But anyway, the green room had a shower. I'm like,
Mm.
good, because I'll take a nervous dump right before I go, and then I can take a shower. And I didn't check if they had a towel, and they didn't. And I'm like drying myself off with paper towels, whatever the fuck. I'm like, well, this is
Who
dumb.
has a shower with no fucking towel ready for
Thank
somebody?
you.
That's wild. This I will give to you. That's
Thank
too
you.
much. But Hemda was talking about her brother doing it. This is back in his cool fucking hackers early .com boom days.
Right.
So they lived and worked in Manhattan, and he would shit at the off or he would be at the office, and then he would skateboard home to go shit and shower and then
Michael,
come
yeah.
back. Yeah. I'm
Yep.
just like, what kind of fucking cool New York life 90s bullshit is that? Skateboarding away from your $1 million company to shit and then come back. That's crazy. Uh
That I wouldn't do. There's either a shower there or there's not,
or there's not. So then Keith, this is a year later, and we're still talking about the chili off. You're just like, well, speaking of, I remember during the chili off, this was at Matt B's apartment in Brooklyn.
Yes.
And later on, you found out that somebody left the party to go to their apartment in Queens and shit, and then come back to the party.
Ray DeVito.
Great to meet you. Honestly, thinking
He
about Matt's apartment, it was a nice size apartment, but that bathroom was so small. There was one. There's usually so many party guests. I feel him.
well, we learned when you guys did the tour that he doesn't go very fast. So it would take like 45 minutes, you guys were saying, for him.
he apparently like he takes off his clothes, he sweats like an animal. He puts I'm not joking, a
Yeah.
fan in the room so it's blowing on him. And that's I don't even know if he takes a shower. It's a production. And I understand that he was on a date once and he acted like he was going to the bathroom, but he really went home to shit and then came back. Yeah, yeah.
Stop.
Yeah.
That's wild. My brother, when we were growing up, at least, I don't know his life now, but when we were growing up, he would take off all of his clothes, whatever. I'm like, is this a production? Like, is your whole life,
Right.
your whole body's just getting overwhelmed and stuff? Whatever. People shit how you have to
That was the thing in
get it out.
Seinfeld, right? There's some kind of emergency, and Costanza just runs out of the bathroom, but he's at least his shirt is off, and it's like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "I like to relax."
Oh man, yeah. Oof, it just feels stressful. I'm sweaty thinking about it. Uh, so you did take all of your time though over the weekend to catch up on some emails and Twitters. A lot of wackos out there.
Hello.
You get a tweet from somebody saying your show used to be great,
Mm.
and so Keith writes
Back
back.
in 2010, this is
This is 2010,
okay.
and so Keith writes back, "Thank you?" Question mark. Uh, Usually when Chemda comes across these kinds of things, whatever, she's just like, instead of getting mad, she's like, what is this person's day like? What is their day like where things are happening and they're just like, you know what? No, today's the day. I gotta say something now. I gotta fucking let this person know. Your show used to be good.
Right. You
So
think you'd give me like a clue though? What happened in the old days that you miss?
well, this person, it's very fucked up. And I don't know if you're actually a fan of the work that's being produced. To have this point is so fucking petulant, but he's just like, every episode now sounds like an infomercial. I haven't gotten through a show in months. I usually get halfway through and have to turn it off because you guys are like promoting the VIP program.
Yeah, we gotta
The
live.
stuff
Yeah.
that keeps you going. And I'm just like, that is not fair. um, she goes on to justify the VIP program. Not that you have to, but it's just
Right.
like we quit our jobs to do this. There is no, this was before, there were 10,000 ads that you can have. This is before Patreon. You guys were really the pioneers of this system. And so for somebody to just be like, I don't know, you guys talk about it too much. They're a little bitch. So then
We don't.
he,
If anything, I don't talk about it enough, quite frankly.
right,
I'm bad at selling like that.
sure.
Um, to play stand up and say, hey, if you want the video, go to keithandthegirl.com/trick. That took 3 seconds and still felt like a lot to me. I
Yeah.
can't help it. So
Mm-hmm.
it's fine. It's fine.
It's fine. Well, but this leads to, I don't know if it was the first one, um, or if this was one of many, but this feels like the first one. But then you go off on your "I'm begging you to get out of my life" rants.
Yeah, please, I could only barely last half the show. For months? Goodbye. You're free. KeithandTheGirl.com/gear. GEAR. Get your equipment.
It's fucking great. I was in my kitchen today. I'm telling you, and this isn't meant to sound bad, and I shouldn't preface everything, but doing the research sometimes is just like, for the show. Um, I'm just like, and here we go. It's gonna be rinse and repeat. And then you'll hit me with these moments, and I'm like howling in my kitchen, and I'm like, and this is why we do this for this fucking rant right there. When Keats is like, Can you imagine a show begging you not to listen? I'm begging you,
Please. How can
please.
why aren't we winning now? When I'm saying your idea is good. Goodbye.
Please get out of my life. And you start naming other people, Huggy Bear, Sajizzle, Ollies. Just please get out of my life. And I'm just like, the desperation sounds so real. It sounds like you're actually really
And
pleading.
then Huggy Bear got a tattoo, and I'm like, dude, how do I win with you? Please.
There's no fucking winning. There
There's
really
no
is
winning.
none. But this,
When they go fuck you, it's like, oh great, now we're best friends. God damn it.
right. Well, now I've got the time to respond to you. I didn't know that you needed to be talked to in a certain way.
Right.
Yes, this really was one of the best rants, episode 1242, and it's within the first 10 minutes, so you can get it in and out.
Well, he was listening that first bit.
Of course,
Just for the
Right.
prayer.
of course, they have
He
to
was like,
listen
I
to
got to know
see.
what the prayer is.
Right. I come here for religious reasons, and I gotta be honest, you guys.
Some of these prayers you've been phoning it in. There's no God in here. It's just please protect me and give us a good show.
Was one of those prayers kind of Jewish?
Oh, it definitely was.
Well, yeah, Chemda was writing them at a certain point, so they kind of all were.
Yeah.
They tricked us.
Episode 1450 takes place in 2011.
2011 for
And the episode title, this is a movie that came out in the early 90s. Keith might have been just like on the cusp of too old to watch it, but maybe you were
Scream.
a teenager. They were little mice. It's not Fievel, but they are.
sure. Rats of Nim.
No, but good guess. Wow, they had a lot of movies about
Uh,
mice back then. It's the kind of
It's not
person
American
when
Tail,
you're
you said.
when you're in trouble, somebody will blank
Adventures.
you.
The
Mighty
Rescuers?
Mouse.
The
Rescuers.
Rescuers, the
Ah, shit.
Rescuers. Yes, this is the episode title is The Rescuers, and this is with a he's a person who plays the thing, plays a thing.
Oh,
I'm
Ben
gonna
Lerman.
say-
And what does he
Plays the
play?
Ukulele.
Woo! Yes, Ben Lerman though, Matt, you got it. The Rescuers with Ben Lerman.
Okay.
Bonus points for the ukulele. Ben is in the studio and he sounded like me last week. He's just like, I'm here, but also probably sad and very lonely and feeling down on myself all the time. But here I am bringing the vibes. It is what it is. Haha. It was like,
And we cured that last week.
it was very much that energy for Ben. And
Yeah,
so
he
Keith's
wasn't
just-
he wasn't shy about his depression. And that
No, not at
Hi,
all.
guys.
And Keith's just like, boy, I can't wait to get into whatever that is later. But first, the son of Sam, the son of Sam, he is him. He is the guy, son of Sam. He is not interested in being paroled. Would you even think that that was an option?
God, I hope not.
They probably said it's not an option, and he goes, "You know what? Not interested." Hey, every year we have to tell you about your parole status. Fuck you! Not interested. Well, we weren't gonna. I don't care. I don't want it. Well,
Yeah,
we weren't
right.
gonna. I don't want it.
That's
I got 3
basically what it
squares here and a
was.
bed. I'm good.
Right.
Yeah, he
You
says
guys
he's
have a
fine.
slice of pizza though?
He says he's fine with where he's at because Jesus forgave him, so he's good. He's just like,
Okay, I
I've
did
talked to
not.
Jesus, I've been forgiven, so I'm good here actually.
I did not forgive him.
Keith remembers the Son of Sam movie, and there was a scene in it where apparently there was like a dog talking to him. He was like telling
Yes.
him to do the killing and stuff.
Yeah.
And in Keith's theater, everybody thought that scene was funny when it's not
It's-
supposed to be a funny scene.
It's obviously not supposed to be funny, but the CGI was bad, and
Oh,
everybody
no.
started laughing.
Oh,
Go and kill him, and they're like, it wasn't that. It wasn't as funny as the audience was laughing.
sure.
I remember that, and
Yeah.
yeah, and they're just. I'm like, no, this is supposed to be kind of serious, and obviously it's not real, but he did say a dog talked to him, so Spike
Yeah.
Lee has a dog
Take this
talking,
with the gravitas.
right? And yeah, it was laughable.
That was a Spike Lee movie too.
This
Summer
was
of-
a Spike Lee movie.
Summer of Sam, right?
Yep.
And it had nothing really to do with the guy. You just saw that guy a little bit. It was actually like some relationship movie, not a
Well,
rom-com, but it
sure.
wasn't much about him.
Yeah, Keith was saying that you were just giving your opinion on the movie and you're just like, oh no, it's a Spike Lee movie. I don't usually jive with those. There's usually like a long stretch of scenes that have nothing to do with the movie. Like one of them was just
Yeah.
going on talking about video game violence for too long.
What's that? What's that one? It's not Inside Man, and the dude is
Denzel
breaking
Washington?
into a bank. Yeah, no, I don't know, but I don't think so. No, but I forget the guy. But I forget the guy. It's a white guy that's breaking into a bank, and as like for some reason they have to sit down with these victims, and a kid's playing Grand Theft Auto, and there's like a 10-minute fucking rant from the violent guy saying why these games are fucking up people. And I'm like, use it somewhere else, Spike Lee. It doesn't really go here.
It's very message, probably.
Yeah.
So yes, we get back to Ben. He recently stayed in Somerset on the way back from family vacation. And
Living a high life.
you
Mhm.
guys were just having a conversation about family vacations in general. And it's kind of just like, are we the only people that's not like doing these as an adult? Like, are we not the only people that aren't going on family vacations as an adult? And Keith says that, if he had unlimited money, his fantasy would be to like fly out all of your extended family members that you haven't seen before, that you've
Yes.
never met or haven't seen in a long time, and actually have like a family reunion. That's something that you would like to do if you ever could.
Yeah, and I remember talking to my brother Ken about this, and I don't know. I don't think he understands at what point Dad turned everybody away from the family,
Mm.
and it's like, well, who are you interested in seeing, and who cares? And was this aunt you just mentioned so fucking great. I'm like, I don't know, and you don't know either. We don't know them at all. Yes, I
Goddamn.
would love to fly everybody somewhere.
Yeah.
That'd be
I
fucking awesome just to see. And then see you don't like them all, but we don't know them at all.
yeah.
And then, and people find little groups and talk, and then you see if you like that little group and go from there. But
When
yeah,
I was
I
when I was
always wanted
listening
that.
when I was listening to this earlier, I was actually imagining some sort of Twilight scenario where you do invite everybody out and they're all versions of your dad, like like a female version or whatever, a young version, but they all like have the same mannerisms. They all make the same jokes, and it's just like I just wasted all this money.
like a whole bunch of Deadpools. But here's the
Yeah,
thing.
exactly.
But they wouldn't get along being the same.
Right. Yeah, that would be the worst part of it. It's just like the first shock is that they're all like each other. The second shock is watching them piss each other off and like passive
Right.
aggressive each other to death.
Maybe what you need to do is get on that PBS show, Finding Your Roots, with the Gates
Right.
guy.
Maybe.
Let's do it. The next
sometimes
Keith and
they
Girl
could-
TV.
Right.
Wait, yeah, you could be,
Why did you think you cook bacon like that? And then we checked your charts.
Turns out
Story
Mally's
checks
come
out.
from a long line of arsonists.
Of bacon cookers. If you know what I mean.
A long line of accidental arsonists.
well, the bacon story is just a precursor to. This is why when you go camping, everyone makes the eggs for you, Keith.
Right.
They're like,
Set
oh,
it
I'm
up.
going to make eggs. Well, let me help you here.
That is funny. No, that's just a life of Keith conditioning people around him to it's just like, oh no, am I doing it wrong? I guess you can have this. Sure, take over.
But I really wanted to make the eggs.
Sure. They should have let you. They
You
should have let you.
let me. Let me. I did it. And then they're like, I'll take over. You're not doing nothing different. I'm the one who cracked 80 eggs and I'm mixing them up. What are you doing?
You want to know if Fat Tommy is still a brat, like these are questions that you need answered about your family.
Say that again?
You want to know if
remember
Fat
him?
Tommy is still a brat.
Oh, Fat Tommy. I heard Tommy. Yeah, Fat Tommy was a jerk, but I'd like to see. I think he's dead. And all I know about these people is that once in a while, my dad would go, "So, your Uncle Tommy died." I'd be like, "Who is that?" That's all the information I have. Of what? And you know that's his. He's also like, I have to break the news. Okay, he's dead. No more information. Okay.
That's
Well,
it.
the good news is if you find Fat Tommy, he's hanging out with Marcus Greer right now.
Well, I bet they're buddies. I bet they're
Possibly.
buddies.
Other things in this episode, Steve Jobs stepped down as the CEO of Apple.
Okay.
Stock for turtlenecks went down.
Let's see. 59% of people know that Keith is a superhero and Christian Finnegan is wrong. So it'd be nice to know what that's about.
Curious. But I
That'd
can-
be baby little baby faggot.
Yeah.
Mm, could be.
One of the best Keith and the Girl TVs that's ever been done.
That's a good. Matt Bray put that together. It's a reenactment of a true story, and yeah, it's pretty exciting.
Yeah. My next tattoo. All right. So that was a fun episode with Ben. Our next one takes place in 2010, episode 1640. And now
What
this is like
what
regular.
year? What year?
Yeah, we're
said
going
2012.
backwards in time.
2012. I don't know numbers anymore. I
Okay.
apologize. 2012.
We got riled up, didn't we, guys? Jeez,
I was
End
just
of the
like, wait,
Mayan
these guys
calendar,
are
it's
paying
all right.
attention that much? What the hell?
we're
Yeah,
going for
'cause
points.
There are certain key moments in KATG
Very
history
true. Very
that when I
true.
get near them, I'm kind of like, oh, he's going to listen to this show eventually, pretty soon.
Yeah. 2012, episode 1640. This is, the only joke that I can think of was like, if you did this to Matt Vance's sex partner, it would be
couch?
considered abuse.
Couch abuse.
Couch, like, but I'm like
JD
giving it
Vance?
the old 1-2.
Punch the
punching.
couch.
Punching couch.
Switch it.
Couch punching.
Couch punching.
Couch punching. Couch punching. Yes.
Thank
couch
you.
punching.
Thank you.
Man, imagine to be a potential, not even a potential. Imagine somebody who wants to be the vice president and people just know you as a couch.
And all he did was not fuck a couch.
All he do is not fucking couch.
Well, that's why his family has those plastic covers over all of their couches.
It's fucking wild. Yes, sucks for you, but also no, it doesn't. And the guests that are on here is my favorite person who's afraid of flying,
Brother
Like a
Love.
fox.
Micah Fox. And we mentioned him last week. He's got a
Casey
big
James
head. He
Salengo?
does a lot of voices.
Oh,
Insomnia?
Colorado, sober guy.
yeah,
He
Dan
loves the
Soder.
49ers. Yeah, there we go.
Mm.
Dan Soder. Micah Fox
Right,
and Dan
nice.
Soder. What a booking coup. As soon as I
Nice.
saw that, I'm like, this episode is going to be great.
That's just 1 point, Matthew, for 2 guests.
Okay, I'll take one off my list.
Thank
Fine.
you.
But it also, a quick side note, since every New York podcast or comedian has a podcast now, how do people feel when they're not invited on their like other podcasts of people that they've been like next to or see regularly? Like if I don't see a Micah Fox on Dan Soder's show, what's that about?
Because comics also are lazy. And so somebody didn't reach out, thinking the other person will reach out, and nobody gets offended.
It's wild. I almost feel like on just because I want the show, I have to reach out and be like, hey,
Yeah.
how come you don't have, but then also it's none of my business. Friendships could have gone sour over the years. Like who
Right.
knows something, but I want to mention it's just like Dan Soder, what the fuck? Get Micah Fox on. It's gonna be a great show. But
Well,
who knows?
Courtney McGinnis has a show dropping today, apparently. And I'm
Oh,
kind of
is your
curious
special
about it.
out?
Yeah. The
Oh,
one she
fuck yeah.
recorded. So I'm very curious about that. You know,
Okay.
Keith, you
Is
get
that
her
on
the
you?
show? I believe so.
You say show, you mean podcast or you mean stand-up?
The stand-up show.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's a special.
Mm-hmm.
It was recorded in January or something.
Yeah.
And
You know what? I did.
it's on our Instagram thing.
Okay, I'll check it out. But yeah, you bring up that podcast with her and Casey James Salengo, and yeah, I brought up like, hey, you know, I'll be on. I have opinions about your stupid music choices, and it's like, yeah, we definitely have to do that. In fact, you'll be so important. I'll make it a Patreon. I'm like, is that a good thing or bad thing? I guess a good thing, right?
Well, they don't even
Yes.
have a Patreon yet.
Well, maybe that's why I didn't get the invite yet. So you know what? Forgiven.
Holy shit. I know it's a lot of work, but I'm like, I keep on top of all these people. They don't even have a Patreon yet.
And they don't, and you know what? And people, and these comedians too, they just say shit. Like, they don't even have guests on their show, right?
No, they don't.
Yeah, I
Right.
haven't heard.
So don't tell me I'm invited.
Yeah, honestly, yeah, that's just my thing. I just wondered about that. At some point, everybody in the New York scene should have had everybody on their show. Like,
Yeah. Also, I didn't ask. Now that I think about it, I didn't ask. I just wrote like, "Oh, this was a funny point you made. This was a funny point you made." And then they
Yeah.
said, "Yeah, we have to have you on." Blah blah blah. You should talk about hair metal. I'm like, I didn't fucking ask, but I've never gotten an invite.
oh, I'm
You
gonna call him
brought
out.
it up.
I'm calling him out. I'm heading to the internet.
Thank you.
I'm
Thank
just being
you.
like, hey, what's about this private conversation you had with Keith
Yes.
about
Thank you.
him being on the show? Yeah.
Right.
Okay. So couch punching. Keith, we talked about this last week. You ended up cutting up one of your wires because they offended you so much.
Oh, so offensive. Yes.
Well, you
Buzzgate.
have a new wire for the mixer. You got a new air conditioner in the room. Life is fucking
That's sweet.
beautiful.
That's
Must be into the money.
You then
because
point-
I promoted /gear.
There you go.
Absolutely. And I folded up some shirts and I send them out, you know. You point the listeners to a place where Danny Hatch will be fielding any Keith and the Girl related questions. And I went to the website and it's still up, official KATG.tumblr.com. Not only is a Tumblr website still active, there are vines on there. There are still functioning vines on this website as if they didn't deactivate the platform. And this
What is it again?
during- It's official KATG.tumblr.com. And there's about like 2 pages worth, but this is back when you guys were doing vines of the guests saying, hey, I'm so-and-so, and I'm about to be on Keith and the Girl. There's Catherine Heller making out with Danny Hatch. There's fucking John F. O'Donnell. It is such a cute trip down memory
Paul
lane.
Hooper and Taylor Ketchum just kiss on the mouth
Just
and then they
kiss, yeah.
start.
It's so fucking sweet.
Oh, we
I
tied
got
up
so
Wally, I see, in the tub.
You
Oh,
tied
Micah
up
Fox
Wally.
tied up Wally. Okay.
Right. It was such a sweet little trip down memory lane. Just seeing everybody looking so young and all the little bits that they had to do because nobody could just say, "Hey, I'm so and so, I'm on
Right.
Keith and the Girl." It had to be something special for everyone.
Tim
Eugene
Dillon's trying to
Lerman.
sell something at in our hallway.
Now he's on the show.
We're
Yeah,
slapping an ass. Who's that?
that was Emmy. That was Emmy
Okay.
getting her ass slapped by Abs and Hennessy, you know. But yes, official
That's funny.
KATG.tumblr.com is still around.
Okay.
Danny answers some questions on there. They're like, he's just like, do they pay the interns? And he's just like, no, but I don't need this money that you speak of. I get paid with experience and with XYZ and all kinds of stuff. It's very funny. So official KATG.tumblr.com. Tom Cruise and Katie Holmes have finalized their divorce.
Oh, we're
Oh,
good, but just
Where one
sad.
love ends, one other love begins. Avril
Right.
Lavigne is now getting married to Chad Kroger.
Kroger.
Nickelback.
He's a
Yes.
mistake. Nickelback lasted like 2 years.
Okay, there you go. You got to
I
give love a
remember
chance.
I remember thinking I liked Nickelback, and then they did a documentary fairly recently on Netflix about being the most hated band in the world for no reason.
Mhm.
And then I'm like, yeah, I guess you're not really good. You have 3 songs.
They gave us what we needed at that time. You know, they weren't the band that we wanted. We were the band that we deserved.
I
And
see.
so
I
that's
don't
what
even.
ended up happening.
I didn't deserve them. Maybe America did, but I didn't deserve them.
Yeah.
But there's a big thing going on for another band, the Tea Party, which is a band from Canada, not the political crap.
Hmm.
They're in some type of a friendship with Nickelback, and they were raffling off one of Nickelback's signed guitars. The funny thing is, it's in a cardboard box. The second thing is, it's a photo like Hemda took where there's shit on the floor, and it kind of half covers the guitar. And I kind of looked at it, and you can't see the name of the brand of the guitar. It's a Les Paul style. And I was looking at it, and I was like, "What's the bids?" Like $100. It's like, oh yeah, it's Nickelback. Yeah.
Holy shit. Yikes.
I mean, the guitar's worth more than that,
Right.
Damn.
Yeah. You guys can keep Nickelback, but the Tea Party's awesome. If anyone hasn't checked them out, they're amazing. Their first 2 albums in particular were great.
All right.
I was in high school when they came out, and when you bought their first CD, it came with a voucher that you could cash in to get a ticket to see them live.
Holy
really?
shit. Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
it was really
wow.
cool.
Oh man, those were the days.
They did Tea Party did the opposite of what Led Zeppelin did. Led Zeppelin started out rocking and became more jazzy rock, where Tea Party started out right where Led Zeppelin takes off, and it has grownly gotten a little bit more metal or a little bit more rocking as it goes. I'd never call it metal, but
And he sounds a lot like Jim Morrison it was like Jim Morrison if he sang for Led Zeppelin. That's kind of what I thought. Or the Doors and Led Zeppelin mixed together almost. But they have some Sister Awake's a great song, and Grand Bazaar, I really like that one.
All right, so this is a music heavy episode. All you metalheads, you're gonna get a lot to listen to tonight.
It's Music Thursday.
Thursday. In more white people news, Lindsay Lohan. Lindsay Lohan is getting in trouble for stealing jewelry.
Oh no!
Not even
she's trying
from
to emulate Winona Ryder there.
Right.
Okay,
a real G, honestly. The first couple of times that she did it, she was stealing from like her friends' houses at parties, like from private parties.
Oh,
This time she actually got in trouble for stealing from a store.
well,
So
at least it's getting better.
Then she upgraded to robbing what? So was it Beyonce that got robbed in Paris? And
My
that
childhood.
was her. That was my Lindsay Lohan.
yeah, she's the mastermind behind that.
She's the great caper. Yeah, honestly, I believe it. Keith knew a person in high school that would steal from people's lockers and then like wear the stuff around school. He'd steal somebody's trapper keeper and he's walking around with it in his hand. Like, he'd steal somebody's hat and now he's wearing the fucking hat. It's pretty bold. It's pretty bold shit. There is a teacher who got in trouble for having sex with multiple 18-year-old high school students. So at least they were 18, but they are still your students. It is a problem. There's
You ever
nothing
see
okay
this shit
with
online where it's like 18, it's Lego? It's like, what is your home life? What the fuck?
A lot of wishing.
The teachers who do this are hot.
Maybe.
Generally. I'm like,
Also,
I'm out here.
When you're
I'm cute.
under 18, anybody who's older that wants to fuck you, you're probably just like, yeah, hot or not, absolutely go for it. So yes, they were 18. The audience, 64% of them agrees with Keith that it was wrong. So
Only
there's some of you out there.
64, dude. This is what I'm
64.
saying. So 40, I don't have a calculator. 40 some percent think it's perfectly fine because they're 18. That's insane. This world's insane.
On top of that, she's married to a Marine. They have kids together. He was off, on tour, but apparently all this was above board for him. He was just like, yeah, go ahead, get your freak on. Fuck these 18-year-olds. Wild shit. Then looking at the show notes, there's a bunch of pictures of different receipts from restaurants with like either offensive or racist things on them. Which is like, that's very stupid. It's very
So
dumb to
dumb.
type it on the ticket. The amount of times that like I would take the ticket with me when I'd go to the table, and there's usually three at once. Sometimes I would drop one. If I dropped one and it said like some slur on it, what
Right.
would be the point? What's the point? You say it to each other in the kitchen.
Of
You just
course.
don't type
I'm
it out.
not
on the
telling you
fucking
not to
thing.
even say it. You're human. You have to get through work. But what's the joke where you're typing it and surprise, surprise, you're stupid. That's why you're racist, maybe.
Yeah.
But yeah, you don't know you don't know it leads to it goes on the check. You don't know that. You're not even worried when you type it into a computer, it's
Right.
gonna show up on the check. That's how
Right.
dumb you are.
That's so stupid. Yeah, you absolutely deserve to get fired when that happens.
Yes.
But for sure, if you don't think that we're going in the kitchen and just being like, table 24 is a bunch of dorks. What a
Right.
bunch of fucking nerds. It's absolutely happening. Sorry.
Ugly dork cheese sticks.
Yeah.
Excuse me. What do you guys
Or
call
it'll-
your cheese sticks? Just cheese sticks. Well, now we got a problem.
Or it's like, Jesus Christ, she is too fucking hot for whoever this dude is. Mac and cheese. Yeah, don't go on a first date to a restaurant. We know you're there and we're judging. We're absolutely dictating and just in the back just
Well,
being
we
like,
gotta
this
go
is not gonna
somewhere.
work. Nah,
I'm trying to give you some entertainment. It doesn't happen very often.
and
for
I
me,
thank you
so.
for that. Later on in this episode,
There's no way to win. It's like,
There's
why would
no
you
way
go
to
to their
win.
house on a first date?
Right,
Well,
right.
I'm
Well,
telling
I didn't
you
want to get
why.
made fun of, so I got murdered.
Yeah, that's why I go to the restaurant on my first dates.
It's either Blue Apron or whatever. Get made fun of. Who cares? That died on the vine. All right. In the show notes we have a picture, and it's a sad picture. Chemda is standing next to her car.
What show again? Sorry, 1640.
This is 1640.
Okay.
In the show notes there's a picture of Chemda standing next to her car, and it says, "Jump my car, please." So I'm guessing she was somewhere out in the city and it died and she needed to get jumped. But then also in the show notes, it says Chemda is selling her car so that she can go to the doctor. So
Oh my. Oh, sorry if we promote too much.
Holy shit, I read that note and I was just like, oh my God, the things that she's been through. Trying to figure out her myasthenia gravis situation and all that kind of shit. It was just,
Well,
it
you went
was
to the
just- it was
doctor and they
partially
said you just have gas.
Yes,
The
right.
first time she got sent home,
Selling
have
your
gas.
car just for gas, Oh, that's ironic.
Can I read some of these receipts, by the way?
Please
if you don't
do.
mind for a second?
Yeah, whatever ones you feel comfortable reading.
Veggie bowl, fried pickles, drink. Now these ones don't come with a price. Best butt, best looking. Total 1402. Free Harry Hines hooker with purchase of Sonic Burger, complimentary BJ's and rim jobs with this receipt. What? Tell them Grandmaster Pimp sent you disease-free, no crap zone.
Jeez. Some of these have to be jokes that just made their way out. Maybe.
Carry out, and then to recognize who's gonna pick it up, Big Black. Okay. Customer's name Asian.
One of them just says nerd on it.
All right. Oh god.
I did.
I'm looking at the jump my car sign. Oh,
It's very sad to look at, right?
Yeah.
She's like so sad in the picture.
yeah.
So later on in this episode, Chemda and Dan Soder share drug stories. And apparently, Keith and the girl maximized the popularity of all the podcasts they visited when they were in California. So, a rising something does
Nice.
all things to all the things. You know what I mean?
Rising things.
Couldn't be any clearer. The next episode, so we have takes place in 2017, episode 2698. wow, we talked about this movie earlier, but it's not the noun, it's the verb.
Rescue.
Curse.
No.
Crash.
Okay, what is the verb of that?
Crashing.
Like, crashing. Yes, there we go.
Thanks,
But
bud.
does
And the is a guest, and what is French for the death?
la
Mort.
piment.
Okay.
That-
Orgasm.
No, you guys had it right.
Shit.
And the guy's got the same name, first name is Dan Soder. Nope, that's it.
Dan
Soder.
It's Dan LaMorte.
Dan LaMorte.
Oh Jesus! We still wouldn't have got it.
Oh God, yes. Everybody gets a free yummy for that one.
All right.
Crashing with Dan LaMorte.
Okay.
And just to preface it, this is one of those episodes where I'm sure you guys could have just kept pulling stories out of this guy left and right. Just you pull on one thread and he's just like, oh yeah, well
Yeah,
that
I liked
reminds me of
him,
the time that this happened. That reminds me of the time that this happened. Once again, check in with this guy.
Yeah, you're right.
Great stories. Keith gives Dan's credits and he mentions his stand-up album and that they listen and everything. And he says, speaking of that, are you sober now? And Dan says no. He lasted 5 months. He was going great. He went on a tour. They went to New Orleans. They went to all these like party places, and he was totally fine. He gets back in town, and his cousin had a birthday party at a winery, and they had chocolate wine. So he was like, "I'll give this a taste." Next thing you know, he's 2 bottles deep,
Mm.
and he's just like, "I guess I'm not sober anymore."
Mm.
So sometimes that's all it takes. He said he never really had a rock bottom, but he was noticing that like one of the worst qualities he'd had was that he was a drunk driver. And not only that, but he was like a confident drunk driver of like, I got this. Don't worry about it. I totally got this. And so enough of that. And he was just like, maybe it is time to give it up or at least take a break. You ask him, like, has he ever been in the hospital or anything like that? He says he's had alcohol poisoning twice. He's only 22 years old at the time of recording.
Ooh.
He's had alcohol poisoning twice.
All right.
One of the times he ended up throwing up over 30 times in one night.
When
Luckily,
do you
his
start
mom.
counting?
I think
Well,
I'm
his-
assuming somebody else is counting.
His mom was around and she's a nurse. So she sort of like took care of him throughout the whole event. So she probably ended up counting for him.
Right.
And so you guys are asking like, what do your parents think during this? Aren't they like embarrassed or aren't they pissed at you? And he's just like, my mom's a nurse. She was like, whatever with it. She didn't love it, but she made me clean the vomit up the next day. His dad was pretty pissed. But that's because his dad is like very straight edge. He doesn't do anything. He might have a few beers every once in a while. That's it. Although he did have his first edible last week with his dad. He said his dad ended up enjoying it. He was in the garden digging the same hole for like 30 minutes. He was just like, hey, Dad, why don't you come inside? Let's just watch a movie, like, and his dad was like, okie dokie. So, he had a pretty cool time. I know this gets asked all the time, and I know the answer is the same all the time, but Keith, you remember when you were able to drink around your dad and you guys ended up having a pretty chill time?
No. Calm the fuck down.
He hid the beer outside in the
Playing it.
snow.
What? No. I was of age. I was visiting, and I went to the liquor store, the only place you can get stuff. Got a 6-pack, buried it in the snow to keep it cool. Kept coming outside and sneaking beers.
Sure.
And me and my dad got along, and to the point where later on he'd keep bringing that up anytime we had a fight or argument and being like, remember that day you were over? Why can't we get those days back? I'm like,
I was the only way that I can be dealing with you. So yeah, there's no world in which your dad is just like, so I've heard about these edibles that they've
Right.
had around,
Man, if I knew about edibles, yeah, I'll dig a hole. Who gives a fuck?
Right. So okay, so yes, Dan, we're going back to Dan. His dad had the edible. You guys immediately start talking about the time that he was pulled over on his way to go sell weed to a party full of people and how he ended up in the mental institution the next day.
Oh.
This, like I said, this was just like nonstop stories on top of stories. And then some of the show notes. There's a total solar eclipse, and Keith could give a shit.
Ooh.
Tiger Woods has been arrested with a bunch of drugs in his system, but he's still the GOAT, I guess.
Right.
And oh my God, The show notes, Keith, if you wouldn't mind, for this episode, crashing 2698.
Got it. I'm there.
Halfway down is picking up a culotta. What is that show
Picking
note?
up a culotta. Dan has been in 2 car crashes recently. One was the other driver's fault because they were drunk, and the other was Dan's fault because he was bending over to pick up a culotta from Dunkin' Donuts and not looking at the road. He has a traumatic brain injury from the culotta accident. I do remember there was a brain injury. Yeah.
Holy shit.
Jesus Christ.
So the irony of him getting an accident from a drunk driver when he considers himself a good drunk driver.
Right.
And then anytime that you hear that somebody gets in an accident because they were reaching down for something,
Right.
yeah, come on. You've never seen Final Destination?
I
Leave
hate it in
everything on your-
movies. When somebody drops something in their car in movies, I'm like, fuck off. And then sometimes it's a red herring. They find it, and you're
They're
like,
using
all
that to
right.
build suspense. Yeah, they're
Yeah.
absolutely. It's a cheap way to build suspense. Yeah. So yeah, I think that was going to be a really good episode. Okay.
I see here also in show notes, it's not neo-Nazi, it's Nazi. Keith doesn't like when people call racist neo-Nazis as opposed to the term Nazis.
Just
Amen.
keep it simple. Keep
They're
it simple.
Nazis. They want to
Yeah.
be called Nazis. They'd be offended they're called neo-Nazis. Like, please, I'm a Nazi. Let them have it.
It says Coca-Cola Classic. It's not Coke Light. I am a
Right,
Nazi. Don't make it cute.
Neo-Nazi sounds fun. Like the word neo. It's cute.
Neo,
No.
come on.
We're different.
Right.
We're the tolerable Nazis. No, you want to be Nazis again.
The next one we have here is in 2018, episode 2928. It is the day where the cartoons play.
Saturday.
Saturday morning.
Okay, but it's not Saturday morning. It's
Saturday
Saturday
night.
night, live.
Saturday
It's in
afternoon.
between that. Saturday
Saturday Night
afternoon.
Fever.
Saturday afternoon.
That's Matthew.
It was
Saturday
Saturday
afternoon.
God damn it.
And the guest is politically correct. This is a queer woman, and she wears a hat, and it's usually backwards.
Ashley Gavin.
Correct.
Oh shit.
Ooh, good job. I did that, and we all got it.
I got to see her live after the Keith and the Girl week ended. I stayed a couple extra days and I went to go see her, and I surprised her because I was a Keith and the Girl fan at this weird little bar just across the Brooklyn Bridge into Manhattan.
Hell yeah.
Just real fast once you got off the bridge. And I was like, really? This is where it's at? And you go in, and it's all a bunch of pool. There's a couple pool tables.
Mhm.
And then it was literally like a bar show. I mean, I guess it was a bar show. It was kind of cool. And then I talked to her a little bit after the show.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Ashley Gavin, good guest.
Yeah, I like that.
Very, very open, but also at the same time, and I don't know if this is brought up or this is just me picking up on stuff. You can tell that she's playing double dutch a little bit. She's giving some, but then she'll keep from divulging too much information. Like maybe she doesn't want her audience to have full access to her, or maybe she's trying to like skew the edge of dirty and clean a little bit or something like that. But you can always tell when she's like holding back, but it's not
Yes,
in a
yeah.
closed book kind of way.
Yeah, correct. Yeah,
Yeah.
I do know what you're talking about. The YouTube is that website also. If I search for this episode.
Oh, sweet. Saturday afternoons. Yeah.
Let's see. What are Saturday afternoons?
I just keep going back to the song.
Were you trying to figure out what it's the show
I was
title?
trying to think.
meant?
I was looking at the wrong show, and I was figuring out if this one was during COVID. So
Okay. No, this is 2018, so
right, gotcha,
we're still
gotcha.
early.
Okay.
This I know what time of the year it is because you start off the show thunking down onto the desk your Met Academy of Podcasting Hall of Fame award.
Yes.
So this was during that time.
So I got the Hall of Fame award, and then in the hotel we were staying at, I put it down on a table, like I guess it had some kind of glass top. I don't know if it was glass, I don't know, something else. And when I put it on, the two things didn't mesh, and it started cracking on the bottom of the. I don't know if this is something everybody knows, but I'm like, why the fuck when I put that? And I kept putting it down, little shards would come out, and I couldn't stop. And I'm like, this is. I think you owe me a new one.
No, if it ain't broke, just keep breaking it some more. Like why is it doing it when I do this thing?
See, my mind went the other way around, which is the way it happens for me. I'll break something expensive that I don't own, and I'm like, oh fuck, I just set this thing down on it and it just shatters. That's my luck.
So like most comedians, Ashley is cringing while you're listing all of her credits. She did bring a gift to the show. She brought a
Good.
bottle of wine, and Keith's just like,
Nice.
good, right in time for my 1 year in sobriety. Uh, she did grow up in a sober house. Her dad got sober before she was born. She realized, later on in her life that her family had a strong connection to alcoholism and stuff. So she just never got into it. She never drank, didn't do drugs. And so, because of the, where we are in society, when she meets people and she says like, "Oh, I don't drink," they're just like, "Oh, I'm sorry." They always assume that like you bottomed out
Right.
or or something bad happened. She's just like, "Nope, nothing happened. I just don't drink." So that's some struggles that she had to go through. But instead of drinking, she was fucking. Like she's just like from age 15 on, I was banging girls in bathrooms. Like that was my vice. I was fucking. And so Chemda's just like, I totally get it. I wasn't doing drugs, I wasn't drinking, but I was going to clubs and like making out when I was like 15 and stuff like that. So that's totally where my energy was focused. Um, so you guys start talking about her family. Keith asks if she talks to her mom about sex and stuff like that. And she's just like, I do not, and I think it's weird when people are too close to their parents. There's just like there's a level of closeness, but when you're talking about sex with your parents, it's fucking creepy.
It does seem weird, but I can't even relate. So who the fuck knows?
Sure. Yeah, my mom will. I still remember she was hanging out with our extended family for a while, her cousins or whatever. They were going out to little cabarets and stuff, and she was just like, "Yeah, we have nicknames for each other when we go out, and my nickname is Foreplay 69." I'm like, I don't. I don't know what to say to that. What? We're not even gonna break that down. I'm just gonna
Right.
let you have it, and I'm moving on now. Thank
I'm just
you.
gonna put that on my shelf in the memory bank
Uh-huh.
and just forget that one.
Yeah.
Right.
Hey, come
Exactly.
guzzler, come guzzler, mom.
Right. I should hit her up with that right now and just text her and be like, "What up, Foreplay 69?" That's an example of a weird relationship with your parent. And so Chemda's just like, I can't stand a mama's boy. She tells some story about how she was dating some guy and they were getting in an argument about something. And he's just like, all right, well, I'll ask my mom. And she was so fucking turned off. She's
Sure,
like,
of course.
that, holy shit.
I remember a girl asking me like, "Do I love my mom?" And I'm like, "I think it's a bad thing." I'm like, "Not too much. The right amount. I don't know what."
The right amount. That's the best answer.
She doesn't
Um,
control me, but I try to learn her lessons.
I just don't lie to her about being Spider-Man, and we're good money, as long as I don't lie to her, we're good. Um, and then pretty immediately, you guys get into like some pretty serious, pretty deep talks. There's talks of abuse and why people might stay in an abusive relationship. You guys talk about personality disorders and stuff. It gets pretty heavy pretty early on in the episode. But I have a feeling that it probably picks back up again and gets light. But it was fun. I had fun listening to that one. Ashley Gavin's a good guest.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, you're right. I gotta reach out.
Yeah, and the last one we have here, episode number 3576, takes place in 2022.
2022.
S and F are the
Suck and
words.
fuck. Suck yeah,
Almost,
fuck
Keith.
yeah.
Almost, Keith. It's another curse word that starts with an S.
Shit and fuck.
Yes, I'll give it to you. Shit, fuck. There's a
Shit,
hyphen in
fuck.
between there, and who could figure that out?
Yep.
And our guest, okay, his last name is a breakdown, right? The first half of it is the last name of Corey, who sings about being the comeback guy.
Corey Haim, Corey
Feldman?
Feldman.
It is,
Oh,
yeah,
is it a Feldman?
it's a Feldman.
This guy, the annoying guy.
Oh, you thought it was annoying?
Josh
um,
Feldman.
no,
No.
Benny
Ben
Feldman.
Ben Feldman.
Benny Feldman.
Is it
Benny
Benny?
Feldman.
Then that might
It's a
not be
different
who I'm
person.
thinking
No,
of.
because this is the
Okay.
comedian
Okay.
that had Tourette's, and he was a hoot.
Oh, I like Benny. I
Oh,
apologize.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, the
Benny,
Tourette's guy. Yeah.
yeah, Benny
Okay.
was super fun, great guy, great sense of humor.
He
But
explained it pretty well too.
yeah. We'll start off here with some bummer news. the James Webb Telescope just
Oh,
unveiled
I
some
thought
new
you were gonna say the
pictures.
guest was dead. Jesus Christ. Okay.
No. The James Webb Telescope just unveiled pictures of Jupiter, and we're supposed to.
Ah, fascinating shit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
who gives a shit? So,
Who gives a
anyways,
fuck?
moving onward and upward. Benny's
Who
on the
gives a
show.
who gives a fuck? Who gives a shit?
Shit,
uh,
fuck.
he's a comedian with Tourette's, and
Mhm.
his thing is he has like an entire, I don't know if it's an hour or whatever, but it's all just of one-liners. Like he's just like,
Yeah.
here's a joke, boom, here's a joke, boom, here's a joke, boom. He keeps getting advice from comedians, unsolicited most of the time, and one person is just like, dude, you can't just do one-liners. You got to give the audience a chance to breathe. And he's just like, no, you don't.
No, you
And I'm
don't.
like, you know what? Honestly, lead with confidence.
No, you don't. And also, there are pauses every time a Tourette's thing pops up.
Every time he has to like cock
Yeah.
his head and say fuck or whatever the case is. So he says, no, you don't. Keith points out how his Tourette's seem to like punctuate his jokes in the right way.
Yes.
It's almost like if he knows to give himself a space to allow the Tourette's to burp out, he can do it in the right space, and punctuate a joke just in the right way. And it
Did he-
affects his performance in the best way.
I I thought he was so funny. Yes. Yes.
Yeah. He says that you guys ask him, does it affect his performances in a negative way? And he was just like, honestly, one of my biggest triggers is the feeling of embarrassment. Even if I like think of an embarrassing memory, it can put me in this place, and that's where like the tics can start flaring up. So anytime he's feeling embarrassed, it starts coming in more.
Yeah, I was a little upset that he was very comfortable with us.
When
are you gonna
he
start
started
cursing?
bullying him. During the show, you noticed that shit fuck seemed to be his big go-to,
Mhm.
but you only thought that because you were watching his older stand-ups. You're not even on the old shit. He's on the bitch now, Keith.
Oh,
Bitch
nice.
is his new thing.
I know I asked him about the N-word, and I think it popped up.
Uh-huh. He
Yeah.
says he has had slurs, the F slur, the N word, to be his tick before, but it's never lasted for like more than a night. But it's just like
A night.
do you happen to do it when you're in an all white room and
Right.
something, or do you go to like Harlem and you try and do a room and you're just like what can I say? Fuck, 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 fuck,
He like trying to hold in or fix a hiccup or something. He
Uh-huh.
throws out fucks just so the worst doesn't come out.
Right. He can't even get his set out because he's fighting saying the N word the entire
Right.
time. He says only 10% of people with Tourette's have the cursing kind.
Okay.
And he says for some people it's contextual Tourette's. A person will be walking down the street, they'll see a couple walk past them, and he'll yell out, "He's cheating on you!"
Oh my
Just
God.
because he's just making an association and just says what comes to mind.
Jesus Christ.
There are some people whose tics
What
are
comes to mind? No, you're trying to be not that it's conscious, but
Mhm.
you're trying to be offensive. That's interesting.
It is interesting that
you don't
Tourette's makes you think like the worst stuff, and
Yes.
maybe what it is, it's taking your impulsive thoughts, your intrusive thoughts, and just like boom, spitting them right out. So he sees a couple.
Right.
Normally, he's able to think like he's probably cheating on her. Oh, but that's a silly thought, and move past it. For him, it's just right out the shithole.
Do you think he sleeps like an angel? He's like, I got all negative shit out that I made up.
World peace, heavenly peace. Yeah. When he's asleep, he just like has Tourette's about sweet thoughts.
Right.
That's probably some frontal lobe issues because that's the holdback part.
Yeah.
He's
The
just
part that's
pure
like discerning.
amygdala.
That probably has something to do with it. Some people's tics are singing. Can you imagine?
Oh my God.
Can you imagine
I'd rather the N word.
working with somebody who just like sings throughout the day? I don't know. It's probably worse things. Or weird breathing patterns. Or there's a version of it where you'll repeat the last thing that a person says. Just they'll end a sentence and you'll say they'll end a sentence. And
Right.
you just repeat what they say. So he
Yeah,
says
that's tough.
Tourette's comes in all different flavors, and yeah, Matt was right. He did a pretty good job of explaining it. And that's
Yeah.
that's it.
Yeah, I liked him.
Yay.
Yeah, I talked to him again. I know, like at the end, I was like, I think we got everything out of him. We got all the curse words, but it's been a while, so we'll do it again.
Well, what you need to do is have him on, have like a little pre-show thing where you're just playing like getting gangster rap Friday, and just
Right.
see if he soaks anything up during
Right,
the
I see. I see.
during the
Like those
pre-show.
stupid magic movies where it's like,
Subliminal.
right, we showed him a 3 o'clock, so later at the big show he's gonna guess 3 o'clock, you know, that kind of thing.
Yeah, this is Keith doing phenomenon. Now, where am I touching you? Where on the doll am I? For the first Keith and the Girl TV video is worth watching. Phenomenon, just go and do it. It's so fucking good. I'm
It's the
telling
app.
you, sweat
Keith and the-
laughing.
KeithAndTheGirl.com/app. You have Keith and the Girl VIP, so you can access everything in that app. And if you're new to the TV episodes, they're pretty fucking funny.
Yeah, the way people can go back and rewatch a Friends episode 1,000 times, these videos are just as good of just like, I need a little quick pick me up or whatever, and just like they're perfect for that.
Right.
So yes.
And I'm
remember-
gonna check out this official KATG.tumblr without any of course.com.
Yes.
All right.
Hell
fun.
yeah. Check it out. Look at some videos, see some guests in their prime.
Check your bills, see if you're still paying for it.
Right. Right. Thank you. Good point.
Honestly, right. See if there's just funneling money out. So great. This was a fun time.
Yeah.
I loved having you all around as per usual. Thank you, Davida. Thank you, Matt. Thanks, Keith. And everybody have a great rest of the day.
All right, just wanted to get some sound. Hey,
Yeah.
sis. Thank you, everybody.
Yes, of
Thank you.
That
It
was
was great.
awesome.
Great
Thanks.
fun.
That was a great time. All right. I'll talk to you guys next time. See you.